Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 253rd edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host, Steve Wellings, and joining me this evening, we have Dave the Hater Lowback, Andy Patterson, Ozzy Smith, and Tommy the Guru Allen. No messing about this week, guys. Let's get stuck straight into the action. We do have a special guest coming on later on, about 8:30. I think he's coming, so we'll keep an eye out for that. But we'll start with the crusher. I think Sergei Kovalev. He's back with a bang, knocking out Vyacheslav Shabransky in the second round in New York. I thought that Kovalev would get the job done, but maybe not as early as this. I thought Shabransky might give him a few problems. As it turned out, he didn't. It was a well-picked opponent, I think, by the matchmaker, just to get Kovalev right back into the swing of things. Dave the Hater Lowback. We were having a discussion off air, actually, Dave, about the fight, and Kovalev did get sloppy at times. He got caught a couple of times by jabs, I think it was. I thought he was just buckled, off balance, trying to get the job done, but you seem to think that he might have been hurt. Tell me more, Dave.
I don't think he was hurt badly, but yeah, buckled is the word I used. I think he was hurt a little bit. I think he was surprised by it because he was having things his own way for the entire round, and then suddenly Shabransky comes back with this really nice timed stiff jab right in the button, and kind of stopped his momentum a little bit. But I think ultimately what it really did is piss Kovalev off, because right after that he just comes in wailing away and destroys the dude. I think he looked good. There wasn't much physical rust that I saw in him. His aura is always going to be in question now. It's always going to be gone. He's going to have to be a boxer now, and he's going to have to be responsible. But I think he can still do a lot. I mean, he's 34 years old now, which is really getting up there for a boxer and a man his size. I guess the little guys age quicker, don't they? The bigger guys can tend to go on a little longer. Yeah. Regardless, Kovalev, I think he would still crush Stevenson. But that would be a shootout now. I'd absolutely want to see that fight still. I don't know if it could ever be made, but that's the fight I want to see. There's a bunch of guys coming up in light heavyweight, though, that, I mean, the division's about to really open up, I think. We got Sullivan Barrera, got Bivol. Who's that other one? The other, like the Bivol foil. Gvozdyk, yeah, Gvozdyk. And there's Beterbiev. I mean, a lot of Eastern European names in here. I think it's safe to say Stevenson's going to fall to one of them, assuming he even bothers to fight any of them. Then there's Badu Jack. Just came up the weight, looked excellent against Cleverly, although that was perhaps an easy fight to get his feet wet. I still rate the guy quite a bit. I think he's really good, and I think I would probably favor Jack over Kovalev just because of the styles, and I think he works the body really well.
I think Jack's supposed to be fighting Stevenson around January time, isn't he, Dave?
That's an interesting fight too. I probably might favor Jack in that one as well. That's interesting. I hope that happens. And then there's the other guy. What's his name? The guy who they kept pushing off for.
Oh, Eider Alvarez.
Yes, Alvarez. Yeah, he fought Pascal. Oh, and there is still Pascal, who I believe is fighting next week. Big news there. So yeah, but the new names in the division are really, I think, fixing to make it exciting. Light heavyweight's about to become awesome.
Light heavyweight's about to become awesome, Tommy. Just looking at this Shabransky character, I was thinking back to his fight with Sullivan Barrera, which was quite an entertaining scrap. But the thing about Shabransky was, for all of his offensive capabilities and his punching power, the guy just had a complete lack of defence. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, really. We saw the same thing against Barrera. He's just so easy to hit, and Kovalev just found him so easy to hit.
He is, mate. I seen that fight as well. I think he was doing 2 or 3 times in it, wasn't he? But I agree with what you say. He's pretty much a perfect opponent for Kovalev to come back, and he's going to get his punches off. He's going to land his power shots, and that's exactly what he done. He got the job done last night. I was quite impressed with him. After the ward fights and that, I didn't really want to get into them. I made my feelings clear on them, but that was. It didn't look good at the end of that second ward fight, even though it was controversial. He did look. I'm not going to say that he didn't look kind of finished in that fight. So I was kind of think to myself, maybe he's going to look poor when he comes back. His heart's maybe on it, but he looked good last night. He looked back to his old self. I want to see him obviously step up in class now. I think the big fights in this division, you touched on the fighters there. There's a lot of good fighters at the weight. The fights really need to get made now. I think Kovalev will fight anybody. He's showed a willingness to do that in his career. So I want to see him fight the Jacks and the Stevensons, Beterbiev, the likes of that. So let's hope they get done. I think he's going to get back out in March. So hopefully get to see him back again soon. Aye, good performance with Big Sergey last night. It was good to see him back in action.
Thanks, Tommy. Ozzy, one of the questions, the main question I think going into this fight was, had Kovalev's soul been stolen by Andre Ward? I suppose a ready-made opponent in Shabransky, it's hard to tell. We're going to have to see what happens when he goes into the 8th, 9th, 10th round against a tough guy who's going to be hitting him back consistently and hard with good shots. But it's a good start for Kovalev, I suppose. Any updates on the soul being gone after last night?
No, I thought last night was mean, destructive. I thought the thudding noise that you could hear from every time he landed, you could tell he was hitting him hard. And I think he did what many people expected him to, just destroyed him within a couple of rounds. I think there's still a lot being made of what he's like in training, etc., things like that. And I've just saw online then that he's his title in March now. So it's essentially be going straight back into camp, a couple of weeks off, then straight back in perhaps. And interesting to see who or what sort of calibre of opponent they're going to be lining up. Remember, he's a world champion now, and the WBO always have some cannon fodder in their rankings. But at the same time, is it something like, will he look at a Sullivan Barrera perhaps, who was on the undercard? I'm not too sure, but and I definitely think he has the capability of going on and dominating the division. But the other guys I've just mentioned, there's some real talent in there now, and I think the best way to see all the fights happen, if the money's there, is to create a super series, work with the cruiserweights. Let's see it happen with the light heavyweights.
Yeah, Andy, just looking at a possible next opponent for Kovalev, I was thinking Barrera myself, who actually, we'll get to him in a minute. He featured on the undercard, but I think Barrera apparently is in line now to fight the WBA champion, this Dmitry Bivol. I'm not sure what sort of affiliations that Eddie has with him, but I noticed Sky were talking a lot about Bivol. They obviously featured him a couple of weeks ago, kept mentioning Bivol all the time. They seem to have got their eggs in that basket, but I mean, with his size, maybe Barrera could give Bivol a few problems, and the winner of that could maybe go on to fight the WBO champion Kovalev. Failing that, Gvozdyk is quite highly ranked with the WBO. Wouldn't mind seeing him fighting Kovalev. The point being, Andy, there's a lot of good fights to be made. We all know what boxing's like. Hopefully they can get the things done and make these fights.
Definitely, mate. I was just going to mention what Ozzy said there. Obviously, is I think this is the division that really needs to have the next WBS series involved here. Quite clear for Kovalev's post-fight interview last night that he's basically calling out everyone. Bivol, he mentioned them all by name as well. So, as Tommy says, I don't think he's going to be willing to duck anybody here. But I think if we're going to see hopefully get to see the likes of Kovalev, Stevenson or whatever, we need to have it in a tournament format, or unless Heyman's going to let me go across the street. Barrera against who's he fighting again last night? Felix Valera.
Yeah.
Aye, it was a decent enough fight. I mean, see at about 30 seconds at the start of that fight, I'm saying to myself, this is going to be a bit of a drag, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then boom, it just kicked off.
I know, he went from one emotion to the other, and then I thought, this is going to be the best fight ever.
And it got kind of dirty, I suppose. I think there was a lot of low blows, but there was a few of them I was actually borderline as well, kind of like on the belt and stuff. So, decent enough fight. Barrera's obviously he's going to be a handful for whoever he fights and stuff. And I think I'm not really want to go too big on Kovalev just now. I mean, what he did last night was expected. I wasn't expecting it's a quick, mind you, but he did hurt Shabransky. I think it was the first round with a right hand, and I don't think he really recovered for that. Actually, he just really put it upon him in the second round. So I'm going to go too mad. He's still kind of like building the confidence back up and stuff. He's got his camp change and stuff. There's been a lot of shit getting spoken about his attitude and camp and stuff, what he's been up to. So hopefully this is him taking it serious again now, and we can get these big fights made. I mean, as I say again, politically, I don't know how possible these fights are going to be or how easy they're going to be made. But as I say, hopefully, as Ozzy says, get a wee tournament involved here and get these big names and get all these belts unified and stuff, because it's we need one man here, and it's a division where we could get a lot of good fights. Jack, I'm not so much about Marcus Brown, but you can get Gvozdyk in there. So it's going to happen. But Terbev wasn't looking too good in his last fight a couple of weeks back and stuff. He needs fights. So I don't know if I dare say he'd jump at the chance as well. He's been on the shelf for too long. So if it's making money, he's in that tournament without doubt.
Yeah, I think the thing was, Rob, with Kovalev, it was an exercise in how to get rid of your man once he's hurt. No messing about. He seemed to exercise the demons to a certain degree of the second ward fight. He said, right, I'm getting rid of this guy, no messing about. But the thing is, I suppose he has a new trainer, Kovalev. He looked like he was back on form. He was ready to roll. What about the stoppage itself? I didn't think it was too bad, Rob. I know that Steve Schmoger probably would have had Shabransky's head rolling off for about another 3 or 4 rounds, but Shabransky was definitely hurt in the first. I think it was the first round, wasn't it? And then again in the second, he was all over the place. I do like Harvey Dock myself. I think he's a decent ref, and he just about got the call right. I thought the right sort of time. What do you think?
I thought he could have been earlier, dude. I thought he could have been earlier. He hit him in the first round. The second knockdown, if you look at it, his arms went limp like. So I don't know how much punishment you want to take a guy to take. And the more worrying thing is that the doctors gave him the go-ahead to go out. They had a shine in his eye, and then they were jumping on the ring apron for it to actually be stopped. So the ref did stop it, but if you look on the replay, the doctors were already on the ring apron looking to get it stopped. So I don't think he needed to take any more punishment. I think he showed a bit of disrespect for Kovalev last night. I think he kind of thought like, all right, this guy's gone. The myth has been exposed. I'm going to go in and hit him to the body and rough him up and try and bully him the same way kind of Ward bullied him. But there's a big difference. Like, so he left himself open. I think they made a good point earlier that it just kind of irritated him. Zabransky landed with something, and Kovalev suddenly was just like, here, have this right hand, put him on the ground, and that was it. Like, but the thing about Kovalev is he's so long and rangy. He can hit you with a jab when you're trying to get in range. And I think that was Zabransky's problem, like how to get inside on him. It was different with Ward. He was able to close distance and stuff. But if you're mid-range to range with Kovalev, you're just going to hit jabs, and then you're going to try and jab with him. And when you try and jab with him, he drops that right one on top of you. So big puncher, expecting him to blow him away. I think the guys are kind of right as well about the tournament. There's no breakout star there, is there? Like the myth of Kovalev is kind of we'll always have the Ward thing hanging over him. As good as he is, we know that he wasn't the baddest. Then it's like who's next? I like the way Kovalev must be listening to the pod, by the way, because he called Baturbiev Beaterbeev last night.
I was going to say exactly the same thing to you. I noticed that as well.
I agree with Rob as well, actually. There's no breakout star there. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, there's not. There's no... Like Sullivan Brea, and it goes to show again how good Ward is, because Sullivan Brea is in a good fight last night. Does nothing wrong really, Brea, but he's not the most exciting guy either. But yeah, no breakout star. Badu Jack, can he be it? Don't know. They need to all have a shootout. I think everybody's right on that. Like, we need to see them all against each other, because other than that, I always like the light heavyweight division over the years, and I like it when there's one kind of reigning champion there. So let's get them all in against each other.
I was going to say, would you like to see Anthony Yard in that tournament, by the way? I mean, obviously, you're going to need some fighters to kind of fill the gaps and stuff, so you're going to need at least 8 fighters, I think. You know, from a British perspective, get Yard involved there.
Vastly inexperienced, though. Could you imagine him going in against the Kovalev at this stage?
I know, but amazing.
Oh my God. Seriously, Rob, what do you think? That would be detrimental to Yard's health.
I have to see him with a live body. I'm not sold on anybody until I see him against someone. You know what I mean? They can show signs of everything in the learning on the job fights, but you have to be in against a live body for me to give you the stamp of approval or do something extraordinary in the other fights. He's been looking good, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, if Yard went in, Rob, he wouldn't be a favourite or a seed, obviously, so he would go on the other side of the draw. So there's a potential he could end up with a Kovalev or a Bivol or a Beta Beef. I mean, Jesus.
In context, like Kovalev Ward was for the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, wasn't it? The winner of that fight was going to be the #1 pound-for-pound guy. So you're putting a guy in that was fighting in the copper box there like a few weeks ago against a guy who was going to be arguably the best fighter in the world 6 months ago. So both there, like, but yeah, no, I think it's a pity about Joe Smith. Joe Smith is all I can think about in this shake-up. We need Joe Smith back. Get some interesting fights.
Rob, we're just losing you a bit there. You're gone a bit muffled.
It sounds like you dropped your mic in the couch cushions.
No, I was saying that I feel for Joe Smith at a time like this. We need Joe Smith back in the mix to break someone's jaw or get his jaw broke or something like that.
Yeah, he'll always give it a good go. As for Yard, he's ranked number 5 by the WBO, so him against Kovalev isn't too far out of the equation.
Could be the next defence.
Could be the last, Andy. What do you think?
Well, it depends. You know, if Yard's the real deal and that he does land that fucking power left hook or whatever. I mean, if you look at that the WBO rankings, I agree with what Rob was saying. There's no breakout star. Kovalev is really still rebuilding, and he can't really do that. Like as you say, against maybe like a Yard, Karumura, Mike Lee. That other German kid was like Dominic Bosell or something like that. I think he's going to go for these big names, Bivol, Jack, Gvozdyk, Stevenson, Alvarez and stuff like that. Throw Yard into the mix because he is a kind of up-and-comer. Pascal he's dealt with. Booty is way past his prime. He's dealt with Chilemba. Once you get down to like Osthuizen and stuff like that, you're really scraping the absolute dregs of the light heavyweight division after that. So Skoglund, I don't know if he's going to be campaigning down at 168 for the foreseeable. So he's not really going to kind of like say to anybody if he's going to beat up the likes of your Marcus Browns, Anthony Yards, Karu Murats and stuff like that, unless he's going to fight these bigger names as well somewhere down the road.
Yeah, good point by the guys. I suppose if you rank number 5, you've got to be willing to get. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
No, Bivol is my bet to be the one that maybe comes to the fore out of those guys. The other ones that mentioned, I know HBO were putting special mention on him last night as well. So people are betting a lot on Bivol. So let's hope Bivol is, because he looked like a kind of a out of Enter the Dragon last night with his turtleneck on him sitting ringside. So I'm rooting for Bivol from here in.
Rooting for Bivol. What do you say, Tommy?
Sorry, what was the question?
No, I was just leading you in because you unmuted yourself. I thought you wanted to get stuck in. I was saying, what about Bivol? Could he be the next big thing? He looks a little on the small side for me.
I think there's much the same with Yard as well. I definitely agree with you. He looks small. He looks like a super middleweight to me as well. But Kovalev not massive. I'm just going to say about Anthony Yard. What he needs is to take the prison canteen in a fight with Roy Jones Jr. He wins that, then the sky's the limit for him. You didn't need any more season in the prison canteen, and then he'll have a legend on his record as well. So he pretty much takes any without after that, doesn't he?
But what I was saying was, Tommy, I know that you have to get in there for your Yard and say, well, if you rank number 5 by the WBO, there's a chance you could get called to that world level. But at the moment, he's grossly inexperienced. If you put Yard, I don't care what people think about Yard, all this pound for potential and all this. We don't even know if the guy can go 4 or 5 rounds yet. If you put him in against the likes of Kovalev, that would be seriously dangerous. He would get knocked into the middle of next week.
Of course, especially see the higher divisions. You can sometimes get away with chucking guys in lower, but light heavyweight, cruiserweight, heavyweight, there's some big punchers. You need to see these guys in. You need to see them getting hit. You need to see if they can go past 9, 10, 11, 12 rounds and that before you can really hang your hat on them. I'm a fan of Anthony Yard. I like what I'm seeing from him so far, but he's really got to get in the mix. I want to see him fight a Burton or the good-looking Italian boy. What's his name again?
Buglione.
Buglione, let's see him fight. He's got to get the type of fights and that just now. Get his seasoning done. Get up to British level. Maybe get to European level. I think he's still 8, 9 fights away from fighting for a world title. If he gets that far, there's still too many question marks. But he definitely has some tools in that about him. He looks good, but there's still too many question marks, as well says.
The thing is as well, actually, I mean, do you think Warren really is going to make that same mistake twice? You know, he let Cleverly try to kind of talk him into making that fight. I think Yardy's going to let him do the same.
Cleverly was way more down the line as well, wasn't he, than Yardy's at that point?
I think the thing with Cleverly as well, Cleverly was never going to be a big, massive draw on that. So they took they rolled the dice. HBO were involved with the fight. They were back in share. But if Nathan had won that fight, the risk, you know, it was a big reward for the risk, wasn't it?
Plus, he needed it.
He
needed that fight really to try and legit his status as a world champion, because his opponents leading up to that fight were pretty horrific. You know, Tommy Carpense and a couple of other boys in there actually were pretty awful. Aye.
Yeah, it was like the Tucker Pudwill, Will McIntyre run, wasn't it? From Mr. Calzaghe.
Aye.
Right, Andy, keep yourself unmuted. I'm going to go to you next on Barrera Valera. Like you said, it got a bit dull, then it seemed to brighten up a little bit, and then it went back down to Barrera doing the job. Barrera's been knocked down 4 times, I think, in his last 5 fights. He's certainly very vulnerable early on, but he manages to get back up. And he's one of these guys who just gets caught cold. You know, wasn't necessarily hurt. He manages to box his way back in, and he needs that wake-up call early on in fights to get him going.
Aye, he did, mate. As I said earlier on there, actually, it was kind of like, just briefly, it was kind of shaping up to be a bit of a snoozer and just kind of kicked off. Done what he had to do, I suppose. Kind of keeps himself in contention anyway. As I say, I think once he really does step it up, we've seen him against Ward. Ward was obviously kind of coming back off his long layoff at that point. Maybe that's something to do with it, but I would really favour even like Stevenson, even at this point, even though he's been underwhelming. But I still fancy the 3 belt holders really to basically do a job on Barrera if the fights ever get made. Kovalev, Beterbiev, Bivol, and probably at a later point Stevenson. I think they would handle him pretty easily.
Yeah, Ozzy, just looking at Barrera, I've quite liked him ever since I saw him beating up the corpse of Jeff Left Hook Lacey. He seems to be a tall, rangy guy. He's not afraid to get in with fighters either. I know that he was supposed to fight Kovalev and the fight didn't come off, but he's one of these guys, Ozzy Barrera, that he's had a few fights in and around world level, but he's never managed to get up to that world level status yet. Do you think that hopefully we can get him in against Bivol for this WBA belt and that'll maybe give him a shot and he might rise to the occasion?
I think he's just been made mandatory. So if there's any other way of getting a fight made, it's being made mandatory. And I think he's ranked 3 in the WBO as well. So it's quite possibly maybe installed or pushed up even higher because Kovalev was at 2. So it's going to be interesting. I think he's quite... But the fact that he's vulnerable and can get dropped is quite exciting because he's shown that he can get back up and he does recover. Like I say, and it's just whether would he be able to recover against someone like Kovalev, who has got like essentially a killer instinct in him and will look to destroy him, if he sees any weakness. Does he make the step up? I'm not too sure. I like the look of Bivol, but I do agree he looks small. He just genuinely looks small. I don't see him dropping to 168, but it's a fight that I'd definitely be open to seeing. And Barrera's a guy I like purely for the fact that he cuts out the bullshit. It's none of this, so I want X amount of dollars to fight you. He openly says, I'll come out and I will fight anybody. With all the shit that goes around in the sport in this day and age, it's something that you've got to applaud because you see fighters hiding behind promoters or the good old, if the money's there or something like that, which means, actually, I don't fancy it, but if you're going to pay me outrageous money, that's never going to happen. So, no, it's something I think I would happily see. It'd be good to see him get the step up and to world level. And it's just a waiting game now.
Rob, like his Cuban compatriots, Rigondo and Lara, he's a little bit vulnerable, Barrera, around the old chin department. But unlike those guys, he hasn't got the sort of defensive nous. He's not boring, I suppose, as some people would call them, but skilled, talented, defensively sound. At other times, trying to stink the place out almost. Sometimes these guys, he's a bit more like Joel Casamayor, I think. He's not afraid to come forward and mix it. He's got a decent enough defence at times when he wants to have, but he's more exciting, I think, than the Laras and the Rigondos throughout the fight on a whole. He isn't afraid to get mixed in, is what I'm saying, Rob. Managed to hypnotise Rob with that question. Tommy, what about you, about Barrera's defensive vulnerabilities? The fact that he lets it all hang out rather than using his jab all the time. He sometimes lets himself get hit a little bit more than he needs to.
I think I look at with these Cuban fighters, they're all good boxers, and what they could box and look horrible for the fights, but I think I look at them get pushed into trying to be more attractive and that. When I watch him, that's kind of the impression I get. He is a good boxer and that, but like you say, man, he opens himself up quite a lot in that. As I say, here in the States and that, a lot of fighters they get pushed to be TV friendly and that, so it could be something to do with that,
And what about next? He's going to fight Bivol. Do you think he'll beat Bivol? And if he does, maybe go on and unify with Kovalev?
I'm not sure. See, but Bivol's another one as well. He looks really good, but he's still got... Have we really seen him at the top level on that yet as well? There's still question marks about him and that, I think, as well. Definitely a big upside about him in that. That knockout he had in his last fight was fucking unbelievable. That was a great punch, but Cedric Avenues and that these guys, anybody that's coming up should be beating people like that. So I think it's a really good fight that could be made, and I'll tell you a lot about both guys. I'd like to see Bivol in that fight. Aye, definitely.
Rob, just looking at the fight itself, a lot of low blows. Michael Ortega was quite trigger happy with the deductions. I suppose you could say if you don't want to have points deducted, stop hitting people low. But I do agree with the Sky commentary to a certain extent. Maybe a couple more warnings for Valera before he started getting deducted would have been better from Mr. Ortega. But looking at Valera himself, he's not a bad operator. I wouldn't mind seeing him again. He has a bit of a dig about him. If he's 29, then he's been going to the Luis Ortiz School of Birth Certificates because he's had a hard life, man. If he's 29, then Smido's 27.
Yeah, no. Look, it was a good fight, good scrap. I think Barrera definitely showed Kovalev what to do if somebody hits you low, though. hit him back low. He was getting hit low all night. In fairness, he controlled the fight without looking spectacular. He's good on the jab. He's got a good left hook. He can go to the body. He's good technically. He could. I think Tommy makes a good point. He comes forward a lot more. He was coming forward a lot more than he had to last night. I thought he probably could have stopped the guy if he'd drawn him on. He was trying to force the fight. For that reason, he probably would give Kovalev a good fight because he looks like he can go to the body and he has a good dig. But obviously, if he keeps getting dropped early and Kovalev's on fire early in fights, like if you take one from him, like it's going to be good night, isn't it? So he might just fall short of being the guy that dominates. He's probably good enough to beat anyone on his day technically, but if you keep getting dropped like that with the big punches in the division, you're going to be in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well said, Rob. We have a special guest coming on soon, hopefully. Big Tommy McCarthy, Belfast Cruiserweight. Rob has hooked us up. I've just invited Tommy, so hopefully he'll be jumping on the call soon. Are you back yet? Hey to Dave Loback.
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent stuff. Tell me about Barrera against Valera, the Dominican Republic against Cuba. A bit of a grudge match there, Dave.
I didn't watch it, sorry.
Did you see Sosa against Gamboa?
I saw highlights of that. Mildly entertaining. Naturally, Gamboa got dropped. I thought Gamboa might be all used up after how bad he looked against Castellanos. Just got a majority decision in his last fight against a guy who's probably worse than Castellanos. And Sosa's pretty good, in my opinion. He's decent. He's a guy with a lot of heart. We saw against Stephen Smith how he's willing to get in the trenches and throw with you. If he believes he has more power than you. So I thought he was going to win. I haven't been able to score the fight, but if Gamboa legitimately deserved it, I mean, it's a pretty good win for him, I think, considering where he is in his career and considering how much credit I give to Jason Sosa.
Yeah, I thought that. I picked Gamboa before the fight, actually. I thought he might be able to pull the performance out, and he seemed like he was doing okay. If he did win the fight, then maybe a point or 2 points here and there, I think would have been probably better. But John Mackay had it 95-93 to Gamboa. I think that was about right. Robin Taylor, 94-94, and Don Trella Sr., 96-92 to Gamboa, maybe a little bit wide on that last one, Andy. And Andy's having a good laugh there. Ozzy, we'll bring you in actually while Andy recomposes himself. Gamboa, he didn't have a proper training camp for this one, but he put the moves together at all the right times. He was starting to hold a lot towards the end, and the referee, Ron Lipton, gave him quite a few warnings and ended up deducting a point in round 10. He's an ungainly fighter, isn't he, Gamboa? He always seems lopsided, like you never know if a knockdown is a knockdown because he's always off balance, looking to touch down, he's trying to hold. He just looks like a guy who's a bit too heavy, like he's top heavy almost. He is too high at the weight.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's been commented in over the past few fights, that he's just not got the commitment that he maybe had earlier in his career. The knockdown, I thought he did look more off balance rather than hurt. And then, as you say, he looked like to be tiring a lot towards the end, as you say, it was just repeatedly holding, and I think it was good to see that the point came off. The 96-92 card was garbage, and I think Don Trella's just turning in real poor cards now. It's not the first time he's done this. The draw, I thought it was close. I didn't score it personally, but I thought a round either way. I wouldn't have been bothered with likewise a draw. But one thing to pick up with, it was close, and like you say, Gamboa only had, I think, 3 weeks' notice. So it'd be interesting to see if we do see the rematch. Now, I don't know, did both guys have to make weight for this? Was it for a belt or anything? Because I think both of them missed it.
I saw this. Fucking Gamboa was going to get fined 40 grand, and if it was Sosa, we're going to get fined, was it 10 grand?
10 grand, yeah.
10 grand, yeah. And apparently they just told Gamboa, basically take it or leave it, or just bring somebody else in.
And then he gets a gift on the cards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it'd be look, it's a solid win on his resume after obviously a couple of poor performances that he's turned in. So let's see from here. I do suspect that they'll try and make the rematch, but you've got to think Gamboa will have a full camp in him. Won't be a 3-week job or anything like that. It's going to be a 10, 12-week solid camp. But I'd like to see him try and keep the weight off and potentially move down if he can, rather than going up. I think he's boxed at lightweight before as well, which is, what is he, 5'2" or something like that? So it's
What Terence Crawford up there?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
If he can stay committed, then he's always handy, and it'll be interesting to see whether they do try and make the rematch or whether Gamboa moves on to bigger and better things.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, Tommy? You have to question the power as well at that weight because he never noticeably buzzed Sosa at any point. Saying that Sosa is a bit of a tough nut, but Gamboa, you would think, if he can make it, would be better off trying to slim down to featherweight if he could.
He's always been a featherweight. He's just fighting above, so that's what it is, man. What's that, Dave?
Sosa is one of the toughest guys in boxing. I mean, he took bombs off of Nicholas Walters.
I actually thought Sosa nicked the fight myself. I thought the scoring was terrible. I thought it was a robbery in that sense. Not an actual robbery with who won. I've no objections to anybody who scored it for Gamboa. But I thought Sosa just in the stretch and that. He obviously dropped him. Wasn't a crushing knock down the point deduction that I had Sosa marked. I've been a big Gamboa fan for years and that. I've been screaming for him to get down in weight, but I think there's definitely a problem there with dedication and that he's gassed in fights before. He's obviously had problems in that with drugs and that in the past, hasn't he? With failing tests. So
yeah,
I think he's a bit of a screwball. For honest, he's never going to. When he came through, he looked like he was going to be a real top fighter, and I think he was for a period when they were talking about him fighting Wanma. I could have beat Wanma back then. I'd like to beat him easily, but he's never going to be a top fighter now. I think this is his level. Jason Sosa's a good fighter. Look, I've seen him a couple of times now. I've seen him against Lomachenko. I've seen him against Stephen Smith. I'm not going to judge him against a Lomachenko fight because Lomachenko's a different level. But he looked really good against Stephen Smith. He impressed me a lot. But he's not an elite fighter. I don't think Gamboa's ever going to get up there. He's never going to be that again, is he?
The Juanma fight, Tommy, will go down as one of those ones that never was, and it's a real shame. I think that fight didn't come off because there would have been knockdowns galore. It would have been exciting, wouldn't it?
Definitely, because Juanma, there'll be vulnerable guys, but they've got quick powers of recovery. They get up, they go down. Bob Arum was obviously letting that one marinate. He let it marinate a bit too long, and we missed out on it. That fight really should have happened.
I'm not so sure. Like that is one of the most bemoaned fights in history. Like the word marinate, Bob Arum let it marinate, ruined everything, is used so often. Mm-hmm. I don't think that fight would have been that great. The fact is, we got two phenomenal fights of Juanma versus Salido instead. Yep. I think Gamboa would have iced Juanma. At that weight, he was a beast. I remember what he did to. I think about what he did to Rogers Antagua.
Yep. Juanma struggled with Antagua, didn't he?
Big time struggle, big time, yeah.
Almost got stopped by him late, yeah. So I think Gamboa would have iced Juanma.
I was definitely Gamboa when the Gamboa trained back in the day. I was a big fan of him coming to the Olympics. Used to get his fights in that for Germany. Used to remember downloading them, look forward to downloading them and that. And the guy's got through his amateur career, man. He was exceptional, but it's just never happened for him, man. It could be another thing. These Cubans they're not the most dedicated people around when they got a couple of quid in their pockets. They obviously grow up in extreme poverty, come over here, get a couple of quid, and then just seem to go haywire, don't they?
See, boys, he's actually got quite a solid resume if you break it down.
Definitely.
But I think we saw it there last night. Actually, it was really kind of like, look, it was only a 10-rounder. I think he could have got stopped late because he was really holding on to like 7th and 8th round and that, trying to buy time. But it was again like yourself. It was not a robbery in the greatest sense. But if you look at one of these scorecards, it's an absolute joke.
Just looking at Gamboa going forward, actually, Andy, the thing is, he's not ranked with any of the sanctioning bodies at the moment, but you could see him, if he got a couple of wins under his belt, maybe an interim or intercontinental title, he could get pushed in because he is exciting and he does have a name, so the TV networks would be more inclined to give him another chance. It
depends where he's going to fight, though, mate. He's been yo-yoing between super feather and lightweight, hasn't it? I mean, okay, that was it, but I don't know if they both missed weight or whatever it was, or whatever the story was. I don't know what the catch weight was, but he's been yo-yoing in weight for like since the Crawford fight. He's been kind of like floating like 133 and that. So how can they rank him? Again, if he's going to go weight, I suppose it doesn't matter where he's going to go. Even for a title shot, he's going to face real kind of stiff competition. Berchow. He's not going to get highly rated off the IBF unless he's going to jump into one of these eliminator fights. Lomachenko, we know, I think would absolutely just light him up. And then if he goes up, he's just far too small for lightweight. I think Linares would outbox him. Flanagan's okay, he's up in weight now as well. But if you take like some maybe Beltran into that, Beltran's fucking massive as a lightweight.
Huge. Crush him.
Absolutely huge. Garcia, Easter Junior probably as well. You know, that guy was at Pantera. I mean, I would probably even. I might be going a wee bit too off script here, but I think maybe Campbell would beat him as well.
You should try and get down to featherweight. Featherweight's a good division. There's a lot of good names in that down there. If he can go down there, maybe get a fight with somebody like an Anito Danero or somebody, you know, and if he can get through that, then he's maybe going to be in line for a bigger fight. Maybe a fight with an Oscar Valdez or somebody like that, you know.
But what is he now? What is he seen? He must be what, early 30s?
34 anyway.
He's not making 126 now, mate. I just can't see it. I mean, unless he goes back to the clinics again and starts kicking.
36 in a couple of weeks, fucking hell.
No chance of seeing making 126. And it depends again.
Is he nearly 36?
36 in the 23rd of December.
There you go. So how much appetite has he got? Either A, to make weight, and B, he actually can really dig in for like a totally big fight. I didn't see it whatsoever.
Where was he fighting as an amateur again? He was at flyweight, wasn't he?
I'm sure he won the gold medal at
Did he not win a gold medal? He won 2 gold medals, did he not? Did he win gold medals at 2 weights? Was it a world title and an Olympic gold he won?
It may be flyweight right enough, mate. I think.
But Gamboa was flyweight in 2004, definitely.
Yep, he was. I remember him being flyweight. So yeah, when you're looking at that flyweight and he's up at lightweight,
but hang on,
that's too much. That's too much. He's no Manny Pacquiao, you know.
I've just pulled up his amateur record. He was a flyweight back in 2004, and then by 2006 he was fighting as a featherweight.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Been out eating with you, Tommy?
Right. I've actually lost the weight, man. I got a few compliments last week. 2 stone off. Miss Phelps, watch out.
Stab my cheek.
Rob, any interest in Gamboa against Souza? Souza's one of these guys who's going to keep getting opportunities because he's fit, he's strong, he keeps rumbling forward, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think what last night's result does is buy Gamboa another outing. If he gets beat last night, then where does he go? Like, we're even wondering where he goes now that he's won. Possibly the rematch. I think Souza's a guy that Gamboa can beat all the time, especially if he has got a full camp. He is a little bit brittle. It's just a pity. I guess I can't just kind of echo the sentiments of what everyone says. It's just a pity that a guy with so much ability, so it was so great as an amateur to come into the pro game, and we really expected him to light things up. And he was, in fairness to him, he was for a while, but then promotional issues, and then he signed with 50 Cent for a while and everything, and just
that's when it went tits up for there when he signed with 50 Cent, man. It's just never happened for me after that.
I mean, love for 50 Cent, but, you know, you don't put your career in his hands as a boxing promoter, you know what I mean, just because he's mates with Floyd Mayweather. So it's a big pity, really. We didn't get to see the best of Gamboa, in my opinion, in his professional career. Again, I think it comes from guys that come from like communist backgrounds, you know, escaping the regime over there to come and be a pro, and then all of a sudden somebody hands you $1 million, like, you know what I mean? It might be hard to maintain that mindset.
Could you imagine what we'd be doing, Rob? I mean, realistically, like, you can
someone give me 10 grand, man. Someone give me 10 grand, I'd be, you know what I mean? The sky's the limit. So someone put $1 million in your hand, who knows?
Good to see me again, man. Just fucking retire, eh? Take the belt, fuck it, I'm going to Vegas.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. And I mean, that mindset must creep into fighters as much as we expect them to live up to the standards of fighters of the past and stuff. When the money's in the business these days, and guys that are not as maybe talented as other guys that we talk about, like Broner, not to bring him up again, but the paydays this guy's got, like, what motivation has he got to go and lose weight and fight? You know what I mean? It's just, it happens to some people, and I think that played a part with Gamboa as well. He started to get paychecks, and he was like, I don't really fancy. I've been hitting these tires and eating this rice for too long. Let me go, you know what I mean? Let me go drive a sports car or something to live my life, you know what I mean? So
I've been put under a set of metal stairs in fucking direct sunlight to lose the weight and get my hair shaved off and all that sort of shit, you know?
You were saying,
I mean, what Rob was saying there, I knew
proper ghetto stuff.
Fuck me, I read something on boxing scene the other day. It was some pay. It was just about what he's been paid, and Berto as well in the last fucking 10 years, man. They're still getting 7 figures away from him. It's fucking unbelievable. Berto's been on 7 figures since he's had about 14 fights.
Broner, man, did you see them fucking, with that wee kid that wanted to take a
He
photograph.
mugged somebody off, didn't he, Andy?
What an absolute fucking rodent. Absolute reptile, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the day that I'll wake up and read the report that he's been shot dead in some sort of fucking gang run, fucking hitting or something like that.
Do a good few more beatings in the ring though before that eventually happens. I mean, his next couple of opponents, whoever they are, have a chance to get and giving him a good old humiliation again. So,
not my old mate Boner.
Let's get man Errol Spence or somebody like that, man. It's somebody fucking punish him.
The thing is, though, all the outside of the ring stuff is one thing, but you see, if someone's delivering the goods inside the ring, Tommy, I can understand why they keep getting paydays. But when you stop delivering the goods in the ring, you need to stop getting the paydays. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, it's the way the world works, isn't it? You get what you fucking deserve, but in boxing, some people don't get what deserving other people do. He's obviously a name. I blame the networks a lot as well. Obviously, the networks want him, so he's still there and he's still going to get paid. It's not right, man. Some of the stuff that goes on in the sport's fucking shocking, man.
you saw in the build up to that Mikey Garcia fight that Espinosa from Showtime said he has a home on Showtime whenever, because they know all they have to do is wheel him out to a couple of press conferences. You know, say he's really focused this time, Broner. He's really focused. He's lost the weight. He's ready to go. Have him with his shades on, talk a few slogans. Him and Danny Garcia, guys like that, you're going to see him forever. They're like cockroaches. You're going to see him forever.
I would love it Kevin Keegan style, actually, if he's like, you know, I don't know, just say he's up against whatever opponent it is and he starts bad mouthing him. He just does what Riddick Bowe or fucking Barrera did, you know, at the fucking press conference, just fucking hook him one and just knock him out, break his jaw, break the gold teeth and stuff like that. You know, just a little absolute fucking rodent, subhumanity.
Riddick Bowe, Larry Donald, just a two off the jaw.
Or like Larry Holmes, kind of like running in the car and drop kicking him.
I was going to say, yeah, you need that white suit, white shoes, jump over the car.
Fucking Dukes of Hazzard style, just sort of fucking like the professional CI5, just jump right out of the bun of the car and drop kick the cunt to the throat.
Oh dear. Right, just closing out this card, actually, I didn't see this fight, but a few people have been talking about this super welterweight, Bakram Murtazaliev. He's 10-0, I think 11-0 now, quite a few by knockout. He knocked out Carlos Galvan in the 5th round. Don't know any more than that, but he could be one to watch in the future, I think. Also, quite sad news, this Golden Boy prospect, Cesar Diaz, age of 20, I hadn't actually heard of him, to be honest with you. The 20-year-old died in a car accident, unfortunately, quite recently. I think it might have been yesterday, actually. I mean, that's just shocking. Like, so sorry to hear about that. 20-year-old bantamweight from California, took up boxing and turned pro in 2016. No longer with us, unfortunately. But we shall move on. Anything else to add, Andy?
No, don't think so.
Right, tell me about this card in Germany. I didn't, casual that I am, I didn't even know the card was going on, and I was sitting watching BoJack Horseman on the computer, and you lot were going on about this shit card in Germany, and I was like, shit card in Germany? Didn't even know that this was going on, and then I turned on Box Nation, and you know what, Andy? Char against Ustinov is the fight I'm talking about. Vacant WBA regular or something title. It's a bullshit title. I've seen worse fights. It was fun at times. There was knockdowns. There was a cut in there. It wasn't the worst for two big fat lumps that I've ever seen.
I didn't watch it. I was trolling people who were moaning about the scoring and stuff like that. I only seen that Ryan Hatton stoppage and the big pole, but it Marek Jerkowski, whatever his name was, against the Plumbers. I had no intention of watching that fight. I was looking for a stream of Bonjara against Machunu, but couldn't find one. I was just going through like old school fights that last night. I wasn't watching that pish. Once, you know, I'd say that all week and stuff like that was going to be for that vacant title, and folk are like, nah, it's no, it's no, you know. And then when it got announced, like literally an hour before the fight had actually happened, I said to myself, there you go. It's the only title in the sport that I can think at the minute it's actually been created by a legal process, because Fraser Quendel took them to court over a 3-year battle after what happened, the Chagayev fight in Chechnya and all that sort of stuff. So it's just, again, that fight is absolutely irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Think about Manny Char. Emmanuel Char got absolutely vaporised off a cruiserweight in 5 rounds by an uppercut. That same cruiserweight is now getting tipped to actually get his arse wiped against Alexander Usyk, and he's now in the opportunity to call himself a world heavyweight champion. The same title, just think about the same title that Ali held for fucking years. George Foreman, Joe Frazier, all they boys. He is now, he can mention himself in that same breath. That is fucking awful. Shite. He got beat off Jonathan Duhaupas. He got knocked out off Povetkin. He got knocked out of Marius Bredes. He's been fighting like the guys like, say, Safir Safari. I think he's might even be a cruiserweight. Absolute fucking shite. I ain't even going to watch that pish. I mean, for what I read on the Twitter last night and stuff like that, it looks like I made a good choice, but no fucking watching that fight. Absolute pish.
Absolute pish, says Andy. Ozzy, I know that you would have been glued to this one. Char, he's quite the character, isn't he? Beforehand, we have Bellew of the Week nominations. There was some kind of argument where his manager forgot to bring his gloves, and then he was offered pink gloves, and for some reason he refused to fight in these. And I always got the feeling that Char was of a sort of durable sort, but he's been knocked out a few times, as Andy went through there, so maybe he isn't. But big Ustinov, for all his size, Ozzy, he's not a puncher, I don't think, Ustinov. He's just a bit of a big lump, really.
Garbage. That's what he is, garbage. I last saw him down in Bolton at the Bolton Whites Hotel when he randomly appeared.
That's right. That was the Zelfa Barrett card, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And he randomly he turned up and he beat Rafael Zumbano Love in one round. He then had 6 months out and returned against Manuel Char, and it's like he just had he was wobbled a number of times. And I think he's a little project of the controversial Vlad Huranov, who's close with Frank Warren at times. And the fight was just it was shit. I know it's not the real world heavyweight title, but how this can even be contested for a version of a heavyweight title is beyond me. Absolutely bizarre. And then the worst thing is that we're going to see Manuel Char against Freza Quendo next. And then after that, no doubt the winner will be mandatory for, more than likely, Anthony Joshua. So, Joshua fans, save your pennies, because Joshua against Char or Quendo is coming to an arena near you soon.
Well, Ozzy, you question the legitimacy of the title there, Ozzy, but the fact that all the golden ticker tape come in the ring at the end, does that not sort of legitimise it for you?
Well, that's true. You can't beat the ticker tape, can you? I mean, I think all 60 people in the crowd as well were delighted to see the prestigious title on the line. This just sums up the disgrace that the WBA are. Why could they not just get rid of this belt? Just get rid of it. It didn't need to be contested for, and it's just completely irrelevant, and it just makes them more of a laughing stock. Like two older blokes, like you said, Manuel Char, last meaningful fight, got knocked out cold off, was it down at cruiserweight?
Brady's, yeah.
Yeah, Maris Brady's just destroyed him. He's lost to Duhappas. It's pointless. Like I said, now we're going to see is Quendo even alive? Have we seen any whereabouts of this guy?
Yeah, mate, he's definitely alive. I'm just going to say, can you imagine Buffer being in attendance there last night? Getting at his fucking gusto for the 50 in attendance and the thousands watching on illegal streams. Ladies and gentlemen, the fight that no one has called for. This fucking garbage. Can you imagine that, man? Honestly, Quendo's still alive. He took that case to court. Honest to Christ, I can't believe this shit.
Here, hang on a minute. So Quendo is still in the mix then, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He took the case to court after the Chagayev carry-on, right? It took 2 to 3 years, I think. They then had I need to go and get the judgment, but I'm sure it says that he was meant to be next in line for a title shot. He didn't take any other fights because if he wasn't available and stuff like that, especially if the WBA did call for the fight, he wouldn't get it. So he stayed off the shelf. So as Ozzy says, he's going to be next in line. He is the one who took it to court. They had to grant that decree.
The interesting one. Shannon Briggs should have been boxing Freza Quendo for this title, and then Briggs got busted for drugs. Now, this originally went out to purse bids, and nobody bid on it. Shock. Anyway, so it went back out to purse bids, and I think some randomer in America picked it up for, I think, 150 grand or something like that. Anyway, obviously, Briggs lost his shot at the title because he got busted for drugs, and then it's gone out to this. I think this was originally a final eliminator to box Freza Quendo for the title. Anyway, the WBA upgraded it during the week, saying, "Oh, it can be for the regular," and then obviously, Quendo's in line for the first defense. So it's all booming in the heavyweight division.
I just for our listeners, I have the I have Boxer up in front of me here because Frezequendo, I remember him being shit at his so-called peak, but I mean it's just ridiculous. He hasn't fought in over 3 years, as Andy said. He's been off on the shelf for over 3 years since losing to Chagayev, getting the court case. Before that, he had wins over Travis Fulton, Joey Abel, Robert Hawkins, Derek Rossi, and Galen Brown. So why he was in line to fight for a world title of any description is beyond me. Going back to 2010, he lost to Oliver McCall. Yes, Oliver McCall. And before that, he lost to Jean-Marc Mormec. Why? I mean, this is the only sport that still just gets me every time. I just cannot believe why this guy is fighting Hater Dave for this WBA thing. But anyway, what about Manuel Charr against Anthony Joshua, Hater? That's something you'll be getting an illegal stream for if it ever happens.
Well, I was just busy typing a message to the WBA on Twitter. I've already been messaging them yet. They still follow me. They haven't favorited any of mine in a while, but hoping to get a little like off of them as I insult them because they are masochists. Would Eddie dare make Charr versus Joshua?
Yep.
Yep, exactly. I think he would actually even make Dillian White against fucking just so that White could get his out of the line and call himself a world champion.
Yeah, I could see him making White versus Charr and then setting up, using that to set it up. I don't think. I mean, it would be pretty ballsy to put Charr in there with Anthony Joshua. Pretty embarrassing. Considering, I mean, Joshua's, had a pretty solid career for a young guy. He's just jumped up the weights. And had some very impressive wins, especially over Klitschko. But even Takam, I mean, he was winning the fight. The stoppage was bullshit, and he looked poor. But I mean, it's still not a terrible win considering the state of the heavyweight division. Charr is miles away from that. It would be absurd to even consider making that fight.
The thing is, though, Rob, it's all the bullshit attachments that they put onto these things. Like, when you say to me, Dillian White against Manuel Charr, say, in a 10-rounder, I'd say, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But Dillian White against Manuel Charr fighting for a supposed world title with the winner then having a legitimate claim, apparently, to fight Anthony Joshua, all those strings and that spin just makes it, what could be a decent sort of, okay, marking time fight for two guys, just a complete bullshit fight.
Yeah. Any fight with the two of them is going to be that, though, isn't it? Like, I didn't watch it, dude. Last night. I watched terrible Terry Norris, but Simon Brown 1 and 2.
I felt dirty coming to you, Rob, asking you if you saw Ustinov Charr. I really did.
Yeah, no chance. I watched the Terry Norris versus Simon Brown, the bold fights last night. Good fights to go back to for anyone that's listening in. But no, I don't care enough about that. Like, to be even like the heavyweights, as far as I'm concerned, there's 3 heavyweights in the world. There's Wilder, Joshua, and there's Fury if he gets his act together, and the rest of them are all just making up the numbers, aren't they? Like, I can't take any of them serious, but they've got banter. As Eddie says, Dillian has the banter, so we're likely to see him out in these kind of fights, and pay-per-view no less. Get ready for more.
To be fair, Dillian's bants this week were top level.
Yeah, the one to Joshua was brilliant, wasn't it?
Superior Black Friday.
Have a superior day.
Well,
he's been right off script, that motherfucker, eh?
Well, that's what I was going to say, Andy. I don't want to end up going down a cul-de-sac because I know these things can end badly, but a few people did give us grief for not discussing this last week. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to briefly bring up the Anthony Joshua thing and the fact that, which is a bit of an anomaly, the fact that he's come off with these comments and he hasn't been hammered in the press the way that Tyson Fury was. My own personal opinion is Fury and Joshua, I mean, I don't personally agree with everything that they're saying, but I'm a big free speech man. Unless somebody's inciting violence, I think they should be able to say whatever the hell they want. But saying that, if Joshua's going to come out with bullshit, then it should be put into the papers the same way that Fury stuff was put into the newspapers. That is where the disparity lies for me. But for what Joshua said and for what Fury said, Andy, like I said, free speech, I don't give a shit. As long as they're not inciting violence, they can say whatever the hell they want.
True. I just think the reason why people are getting pissed off is because we've seen this facade with Joshua way, way back. I remember when I was still hosting and stuff like that. I remember it might have been Joshua's 3rd or 4th fight. I forget who he was fighting, actually. It was a post-fight, sitting at the ring, and he was saying that he wanted to hurt this guy and he wanted to do something, really kind of damage him and stuff like that. And that was the real Joshua then. And we commented on it at the time and stuff that he was a facade and that it was all media training and stuff like that. Just basically calling him like the modern day Joe Louis, that, didn't he upset this person and you know, I know the casuals will lap it up, but you know, there's been cases, you know, the mask has definitely slipped. He's obviously he's got a lot of people in his ear. I don't know who these people are. There's been photographs merging around about, floating about and stuff like that. People can make up their own minds what they think. I've got no solid evidence of what's actually happening with the guy, but I just think a guy with that type of money and stuff like that, he's probably mixing in kind of high society people, you know, who've got money, who are influential, and maybe just got in his ear or whatever, and he's just started to kind of turn a wee bit. I don't know what it is. I really don't. But he's the mask slipped fucking years ago. This is just to get a wee bit kind of not so much serious, but it's actually kind of breaking out a wee bit more and stuff like that. So it was kind of weird as to why he went after Eddie Chambers, but maybe it's because Chambers he was Team Fury for a while, wasn't he? I dare say he's still quite pally with the Furies and that, so maybe that's got something to do with it. I really don't know.
Yeah, Rob, I mean, in an era of paparazzis floating around trying to get long lens photographs of celebrities with the most innocuous things, it does seem a bit strange in a free press that this wasn't covered at all. This is the #1 heavyweight in the planet, and he's British. You know, why weren't these tabloids all over this shit?
Well, put it in context. When I remember watching one of the Louis Theroux documentaries, and it was about your man Max Clifford, and he said when Simon Cowell got the job posting on X Factor or Pop Idol or whatever it was back then, he was able to keep some certain stories that he didn't want coming out of the press. So I wouldn't be surprised if with Eddie and Sky and all the money that's behind Joshua that they're just keeping these things suppressed or whatever. But like, I don't care what he says either. And you know, to be honest with you, other than what fighters say, like, why are you going to fighters for opinions on religion and politics? Like, you know what I mean? We don't want to hear. You know what I mean? We just want to see him fight.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want the answers to solving world peace from.
No problem. Joining us on the call now, we've got Tommy McCarthy. Tommy, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you. I'm here.
Yeah, we can hear you great. Thanks for joining us, Tommy. We won't keep you too long. First of all, what's happening at the moment? You got a good win there the other week against Blaise Mendo. Look at just onwards and upwards now. Looking forward to your next outing.
Yeah, that's it. I want to be fighting for a title in the new year, early in the new year. Talking maybe, you know, from January to April. The date in amongst there would suit me down to the ground. So, yeah, I'm happy to be part of the MTK stable now because they're getting me busy. It was 2 fights in the space of 4 weeks. So, you know, I want to push on and get into the big championship fights at the moment.
Yeah, because you got a few wins under your belt, obviously, with Brian and Pat McGee, and then the fight with Matty Askin came up. It obviously didn't go your way. So after that, it's all about getting the 6 and 8 rounders out the way because you're sort of fed up with them. You want to get back up to the title scene again.
Yeah, that's it. I said after that last fight, I don't want to do another 6 rounder ever again because I feel that I'm past that. And, you know, before that big break from the ring, which was no fault of my own, but before the 11 months out, my last 3 fights my last 2 fights, had been a 10 rounder, which was live on Sky, and then a 12 rounder, which was tapping a bill in Manchester. So, you know, that's where I want to get back to. I'm past the learning stage, and you know, I believe I belong at the championship level, so I want to go back to that level. I don't want to hang around.
Yeah, one fight that was supposed to happen and it didn't come off. Quite a few people were looking forward to it on an Eddie Hearn undercard was the fight with Mike Perez. He was slimming down. He obviously ended up fighting in the World Boxing Super Series in the end. From your point of view, what went down there? How come it didn't come off?
Well, that was a whole big mess, to be honest with you. What happened was I went to Manchester because that's where my training base is now at the minute. So I went over to Manchester to start my training camp. My manager told me I was on the Hearn undercard, the Burnett undercard. So I went over and I was training and I could just see over the weeks, during the build up, they were adding fighters' names to the card and going on and on and on. And then there was like 11 fights or something on the bill. Well, I don't know, there was just loads of fighters and I was going, I wonder why my name's not here yet.
Yeah.
So I rang my manager and I said, "What's going on? Everyone's getting at it, and I just seen Luke Watkins is fighting Ian Timms for the Irish cruiserweight title. So you know that couldn't look good for me because I'm an Irish cruiserweight. So they're probably gonna have two, like on the same bill. And he says, "Oh, not to worry. Eddie Hearn says he wants you on the show. They're just looking for an opponent who's available." And I was like, "Right, okay." And then I rang him again a couple of days later, and I says, "Looks like the show's full. What's going on?" And he said, "Right, hold on. Let me just No, sorry. My coach rang the matchmaker for Matchroom,
Yeah.
and he said, have you got an opponent for Tommy McCarthy?" And the matchmaker says, "No, he's not on my list, but I don't know what's happening." So I rang my manager and said that, and he says, "Right, let me ring and see what's happening." And then he rang me back and said, "Sorry, Tommy, you're not on the bill." And I was like, "Fuck's sake, I've been here all these weeks training, fucking in England, away from my family, away from my kids, and now I'm not fighting. Like, what the fuck?" And no, I was obviously annoyed.
Yeah.
And then so Michael Conlon, who's my friend, I was just texting him, and I was like, just venting, just saying, "Look, this is a joke and blah blah blah. And I'm gonna retire." And then he says, we were just talking, just texting, and then he tweeted Eddie Hearn saying, "Put Tommy on the show. He's a fan favorite." And then Hearn replied back saying, "I've got an idea. How about McCarthy versus Perez?" And Mick texted me straight away and says, "Go on Twitter." And then he said about Perez, and I went, "Sure, he's heavyweight." He went, "Fuck it anyway, he's done." So I was like, "I know, fuck it anyway. I've been here training, and he is done. He hasn't boxed for years." So I just said that Eddie, look, if you're being, because I thought Eddie was trying to be smart as well. No, like, this guy isn't in my weight class. His last fight was for the heavyweight title eliminator, so Eddie's probably thinking I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
But because Eddie obviously doesn't know me, and obviously I was game, and I was thinking as well, this would be a big money fight too, because there's no the level that Perez is for it. He's not gonna want to fight for shit money. So I was like, look, if you're serious, get on to my manager, and we'll get it sorted. And so and then he tweeted back, said, "Yep, the wheels are in motion." So my manager rang me the next morning and says, "Hey, I've had a message from Eddie Hearn about fighting Perez." And I says, "Yeah, no problem, but just make sure the money's right." And so this was about 2 weeks before the actual date, and then I was just waiting on a contract. Well, I don't like. I thought it was like for a big title fight with him, and then I actually had to go and do a check weigh-in with the WBC.
Yeah.
So I was like, nobody told me what belt it was for. I just got a phone call saying you need to come down here to do a weigh-in, and I says, "Why? What's going on?" WBC sanctioned this, and we've sent us down to do a check weigh-in. So I just wanted to get the details of the fight. What am I fighting for? How much am I getting? And I wanted some tickets as well. No, and so this was going on and on and on, and then a couple, like the week of the fight, a guy from Matchroom sent me a message saying, "Tommy, can you just send some videos of your training so that we can do a build up video?" And I says, "Yes, no problem. But see, before I do it, can somebody tell me how much I'm getting paid and send me some tickets and let me know what the fight's for?" And the guy wrote, "Yes, no problem. Sorry, I'll get." That's not my department, but I'll get the necessary department to get in contact with you ASAP. So then my manager rang me and I says, "Look, I was just talking to the Matchroom guys. I've asked them to tell me what the purse is and to send me some tickets before I send a video." And then my manager said, "Well, I was just talking to Eddie, the fight's off." And I was like, "Fuck me, this is going to look terrible for me." And then it did. So, what do you call him? Perez come in then late, and he come in and he boxed, and I was there at the ringside. But whatever, my manager and Eddie had been talking for whatever it was 2 weeks and going back and forth, and there was all the stuff that obviously that I don't know because I don't do the negotiations, but I just knew it was just going to look terrible for me. So
Yeah.
that all the build up and the hype would all come around, and on the week of the fight it falls through.
There's a lot of messing about behind the scenes in this game, isn't there?
A lot of big time, because it's, you know, people are, you know, trying to, you know, in the business side of things, people are trying to get the best deal to suit themselves and try and, you know, get one up on each other, whereas the fighters, that does why boxers have managers, because that's not our game. A lot of us, the majority of us, are just working class kids who just in it and, you know, just want to fight. Like, I wouldn't know how to negotiate a deal or seal a deal or anything like that. I've never done it before. So there's all the messing goes on behind the scenes, and you don't know what's happening. You just get the phone call to say the fight's on or it's off. You need to be this weight or that weight, or, you know, those kind of things. So it was just a big mess, and you know, it's probably something that's going to just haunt me forever, because people still going on about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, on that fight, on that bill, Luke Watkins ended up fighting Ian Timms and knocking him out cold for the Irish Cruiserweight title. You and Watkins have had a bit of beef back and forward. He's the Commonwealth champion now. That's obviously something you'd like to get on sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. His career's just a strength since that fight against Timms, and he's defending this Commonwealth title next at the weekend. So, you know, providing he comes through it, I'd like to fight him. I'd like to fight him for the Commonwealth title. But if he loses, I'd like to fight the other guy for it as well.
That's Mike Stafford, isn't it? Yeah.
Mike Stafford, yeah. So as I've said this time and time again, I don't have any like proper beefs with anyone. I just want to be the champion. I just want to win the belts. The back and forth that was going on between me and Luke was just because I felt like they was disrespecting me from like the start of the year. It started because I get on okay with Paddy Fitzpatrick, and Luke's alright as well, but you know, they just kept tweeting me about and saying stuff, right? We want this fight, and what I'd say to anyone, if you're serious about the fight, talk to my manager. You don't come to me, because I'll fight you, no problem. Everybody who knows me knows it. I'll just fight anyone, no problem. If you're serious, going through the necessary channels that you have to. And so it just started getting annoying after a while. When I'm sitting there and they're just tweeting.
Yeah, just to remind our listeners, we've got Big Tommy McCarthy on the call, Belfast Cruiserweight. Tommy, just before we bring the members of our panel in to ask you a couple of questions before we let you go, just tell me about this World Boxing Super Series at your division up at Cruiserweight. Obviously, a lot of action already. You've got Dortico, you've got Usyk, you've got Bradis. Who do you think is going to win it, and what have you thought so far?
So far, I think it's been great. All fights have been really world class, and I think Usyk will probably win it. Usyk seems to like real special, and but what do you call the Cuban guy again?
Dortico. I actually picked him to win it.
Yeah, he looks dangerous too. So I've enjoyed it.
It's good when you get big punches together, isn't it? Like Gassiev as well, and they're not afraid to put it all on the line. That's what boxing needs, isn't it?
It's great. And it's great for the cruiserweight division too, because for so many years it's been the forgotten division. But with the World Super Series and all these guys all being brilliant, you know, it's shining the light on the cruiserweight division. So it's great to be involved in the division.
Just as well, it just came to my mind, actually, you know, training with Ensley Bingham. I'm old enough to remember Ensley fighting himself against the likes of Ronald Winky Wright and I think Delroy Leslie as well. Good trainer, Ensley. A lot of good advice for you.
Yeah, he's brilliant. You know, he has a great gift for putting together training programs and for reading fights, and you know, he just has a great eye for boxing. Like sometimes when I'm doing pads, he'll go, "Hold on, wait, do it a couple of times." He'll go, "Right, all right, I see the problem here," and he'll make just a tiny adjustment, and it changes everything to what we're doing. So, you know, he loves boxing, he lives for it, and he's dedicated to it. And his dream is to train a world champion. My dream is to be a world champion. So it's a match made in heaven.
Exactly. Right, let's bring in a couple of our guys. We've got the guru on the call, Big Tommy Allen. Tommy, do you have any questions for Mr. McCarthy?
I was away there. I wasn't quite sure what you've asked of me so far. That's what I was going to say. What do you fancy doing next, big man? What's your plans? Title fights, Commonwealth, British? Try and get Askin again.
Yeah, so the Askin thing is, that would be great. I want to fight him again, but I just have to be realistic about it. And I had my chance at the British, and now are in the pecking order now. So I want to win to get back up there and get another crack at Askins. So in the meantime, as you already says, the Watkins fight is a good one, and Stephen Simmons, he's got that
That's
ABF
a good
European
fight.
belt.
That's a good fight. Aye.
So them just to try and get back into contention again for the major belts.
That's good stuff.
I see Luke Watkins is facing Mike Stafford for the Commonwealth. Surely, I mean that would be one that you'd be kind of looking at somewhere down the line as well.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to because the fight's next week, so I'd love to fight the winner of that early next year. There's going to be some big shows in Belfast again next year. I'm sure of it, with Frampton's return and with the champion. So, it'd be great to get on one of those big cards in a big fight against the winner of Stafford and Watkins.
I see Craig Kennedy still looking for an opponent. I mean, is it too short notice to put your name in the hat for that one?
Well, I was looking on Backstrike today, and I think he's just having a comeback fight after his loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's only looking to do a 6-rounder, but that's another potential opponent for next year. I'm sure he wants to get back into the title mix again. So yeah, that'll be a good fit, because I don't know if he still has that. Remember, he won that ABF belt international.
Yeah.
We forgot about him, but yeah, he's back.
If you did any sparring with, like, say, Lawrence Coley and Isaac Chamberlain, if so, how do you rate them?
Have I ever sparred with him, did you say?
Yeah.
Nah, I never sparred with any of them. I think, Coley, the both of them look alright. Coley looks massive for cruiserweight, and he seems like he's a big puncher. And Chamberlain has some good skills as well, by the looks of things. Looks tough. So I think them two. I was told last week when I was done an interview that the two of them have some beef with each other and are gonna fight each other in February. So they aren't really guys I'm looking at for next year, because the both of them are kind of still building as well. I feel like I'm a bit more in front of them in terms of my career. But yeah, it should be a good fight between them two.
Just mentioning sparring there, Tommy, you've sparred quite a few guys, amateur and pro, over the years. Who would be some of the better names you've got in and sparred with?
From a time professional, my biggest profile sparring was with Bellew, for the hay fight. We sparred with him for pretty much the whole camp, from the first week of sparring until the last week. I went out to France and sparred with Carlos Tagle. Who else? I was sparring with a guy in Denmark, Mickey Nielsen. Don't know if you saw him. He was a big puncher. Sparred with.
He failed a drugs test in South Africa a couple of months back. He's been allowed to fight still.
I know it's a joke. It is a fucking shambles. It's Tony Conquest. Trying to think. Jack Massey I've done a lot of sparring with Jack Massey before my first fight back, because he's obviously training in Manchester, and done a lot of sparring with him. Yeah, but I'd say that the top one would probably be Bellew, because he was the WBC. When I sparred him at the time, he was the reigning champ, and he was fighting David Hayes, you know what I mean? So that was like a real big exposure, and Sky cameras and that were coming around, and yeah, so that would be the biggest thing.
What's he like to get in the ring with? I mean, does he punch hard? What does he do well?
Yeah, he punches hard, but the thing that surprised me is the speed. Like, he has really fast head movement, and he's got fast hands too. But he's got a lot of experience, and he brings all that to the ring. So it was great for me. But his speed was the main thing that took me by surprise, because I got in expecting him to be a big puncher. So the speed took me by surprise. But he's a great person. I really get on well with him, and you know, being up in the camp made me become a fan. Do you know what I mean? Well, that's another person in the sport, Nathan Cleverly, because when I first turned pro and Cleverly and Bellew were fighting each other, I I went over and sparred with Cleverly for a week, and I didn't know Bellew, but I was over in that camp, so Cleverly was another high profile one.
Lots of good experience then.
Yeah, it's a great experience. But Tony I got the most out of it because I was there for so long and getting to know him and talking to him and stuff and becoming a friend.
Yeah. Just a couple more questions, Tommy, and we do appreciate your time. Rob Kelly, do you have one?
Oh yeah. What's the crack, dude? I've one. Yeah, we were talking about sparring there. I saw on your Instagram that you were sparring there with young Joe Joyce ahead of an alleged fight, bare knuckle fight. How good are the bare knuckle guys?
The bare knuckle guys, to be honest with you, see, it's tough sparring. It's not technical about it. There's no finesse. It's just like Joe comes down. Joe's a big mate of mine. I boxed him when we were kids in the amateurs. And anytime he's got a fight coming up, he rings me and says, "Tommy, I have a fight coming up. Do you fancy going to sparring?" And so I always just oblige. But he just turns up. He's got really shit gloves, no hair guard. Sometimes he wears a gum shield, sometimes he doesn't. And he just fucking gets in, he just lets him go. And then when he gets tired, he throws more punches. Like most people, I would say, like almost everyone, when he get tired, to stop punching or not as fast, there's less venom. When Joe gets tired, he tries even harder and he just starts letting these big 10-punch fucking combinations go. But it's good. It's good for fitness and good for toughness because obviously he's far heavier than me and stuff. So I like it.
Yeah.
But I just see, to be honest, I always dread going around, but no.
Any more, Rob?
Fucking wonder. Jesus.
I was just going to say, you wanting to do a bit of rapping now that we have you on camera, you know what I mean? You want to drop a few bars or anything for the buzz?
What, a few bars?
Yeah.
Right. I haven't got none right now prepared, so...
He's putting you on the spot here, Tommy.
I'm on the spot. Right. Oh my God. Give me something. Give me a word and I'll freestyle something quickly.
Go on, Rob.
Give me Boxing Asylum.
Boxing Asylum. Okay. Listen. Fuck's sake, you give me the hardest word ever. What range of asylum?
You do it, Rob. Hey, Tommy, get Rob to do it. Go on, Rob.
He's hyperventilating now.
Right, Rob, you've got to come up with something for the word orange.
I had a really good joke here, but I didn't want to cause tension.
Yeah, we'll maybe leave the rapping for now. Ozzy, do you have any questions for Tommy?
Yeah, hello, Tommy. Going back to a couple of fights that you mentioned. Obviously, you mentioned the lads like Stephen Simmons, Luke Watkins, Wadi Camacho. I know he's flirted with like fringe British level. Had another defence of his Southern Area title last night. He's a relatively well-known name on the domestic scene. Is that something that would potentially interest you? He always comes to fight. He looks to bring it, and he's relatively experienced, and he's had a number of fights.
Yeah, Camacho, as he said, everything he said is true. He's been up on the championship level as well, but he retired, didn't he, a couple of years ago, and then he came back. So I don't know what if the fight with him was there, I would take it, of course. The reason why I mention those guys is because they're the ones who are above me in the box track rankings. It's Watkins and Simmons and Askins, obviously. And they're the guys who are building momentum and have no good belts. As I said, that fight could be anyone. But if that fight presented itself, yeah, definitely. But he's just not really on the radar because he's kind of becoming like a gatekeeper now for the guys down there, and not like the Southern Area level.
Yeah.
Any more, Ozzy?
Well, actually, just your quick views on a fight between Simon Vallily and Arfan Iqbal. That's been touted for, I think, the George Groves, Chris Eubank Jr. undercard. They're obviously two highly touted. I think Valily's got bags of amateur experience, and Iqbal's
Yeah.
Is that a potential fight further down the line for you?
Yeah, definitely. Vallily, as you said, bags of amateur experience. I remember him we were amateurs at the same time, and he won the Commonwealth Games. We were at the same Commonwealth Games. He knocked everybody down. And Arfan Iqbal, I don't really know too much about him, but I've seen the fight with him and Camacho, and he looks good. It looks like he has a good, classy style. But yeah, I don't know what way that fight will go because Vallily hasn't really been as effective in the pros as what I thought he was going to be. I thought because in the amateurs he was a big puncher, you know what I mean? And I think only has maybe 2 knockouts at the minute.
He had a favourable decision against Menduo Vallily, who you just
I heard it. Yeah.
God, it was very. I had a couple of mates who said Blaze pinch that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But yeah, it'd be a good fight. I haven't seen enough of Iqbal now. I just saw that fight against Camacho and he looked good. So it's all about on the net, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Ozzy. Tommy, we appreciate you joining us. Just finally, we want to see you back in action. Hopefully, you talked about the Ryan Burnett undercard there as well. We saw Carl Frampton return recently. Hopefully, he's going to have another show in March as long as the Frampton bandwagon rolls on. We've obviously seen a few legal wranglings coming into play, so hopefully that's not going to derail Frampton's return, you would think?
Yeah, now the legal wranglings, I think that should be all wrapped up very sharpish, the Carl bandwagon won't stop. The Frampton bandwagon won't stop because he's such a high-profile person here, and in regards to what's going on with the McGuigans, Carl, I have not heard him say anything bad about them at all. And then next thing, that statement come out today, there's a lawsuit in it, so I think maybe they're just getting bitter because Frampton, obviously was making everybody rich when he was over, and now he's gone.
That's a meal ticket away, isn't it?
Say it again.
That's a meal ticket away. So pretty much butter, aren't they?
Yeah. So obviously people are going to feel better, but Frampton will be all right. And as long as Frampton fights here, the big shows will be here, and Frampton's my mate as well, so hopefully I can get on all his shows that he has here.
Yeah, with Barry's situation with Barney Eastwood as well, it's a shame to see history repeating itself as it often does.
Yeah, it's a joke, and you would think when you go through something like that, you wouldn't want to inflict it on somebody else, so I don't know.
No problem. Tommy, we appreciate you joining us. It's at TommyMac90 on Twitter, isn't that right?
Yeah, and Instagram, both of them, so...
Excellent stuff. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll hopefully get you back on again soon as well if we can.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Tommy. All the best.
All the best, mate.
All right, lads. Good luck.
Thank you.
Look.
Tommy McCarthy there, everybody. That was good stuff there from Tommy. Some good insight into the Perez and a bit of Frampton at the end, and hopefully he can push on. Really talented guy. Been watching him ever since he was in the amateurs, and he's got a bit of a punch about him as well. He can definitely
We're on some roll for guests, though, by the way.
We're doing brilliant for guests. We've got another 2 coming up next week as well, I think. So
get those Patreon money. Get that Patreon money out.
Hey, is Bunce made any comments yet?
Bunsey?
Aye, I don't know. I mean, we had Tommy McCarthy on there for what, half hour?
Oh yeah, right. Not flip, mate.
7 minutes, guys.
7 minutes is the max,
Yeah.
Waiting for him to come to me address still.
Oh, is he not come for you now?
Come for me, maybe next week.
You can give him a beating for 7 minutes if he does, Rob.
You need the referee from the KOVALEV fight.
Right, let's move on, guys. A few points of interest next week, just before we get onto the big one, which is Cotto against Saddam Ali, if you can call that a big one. There's a show on Monday night. There's the biggest one we can muster up next week. There's a show on Monday night from Russia. A couple of names of interest. We're not going to get bogged down in it, though. Edward Troyanovsky is fighting against 21-0 Carlos Portillo, and also Sergey Kuzmin against Amir Mansour. That might be a decent scrap up at heavyweight. The vacant WBC international heavyweight title is on the line. And then on next Saturday night, Igor Mikhalkin, he's only got one loss. He's fighting in France against Dudu and Gumbu. Can't believe Ngumbu's still going. Nobody cares about that, not even me. Andy, something about a Thai fight you were mentioning there in the chat to us?
Aye, there was a fight yesterday for Thailand. This guy, what's his name again? Wang Heng Mayothian. He's like 49-0, so he's actually on the verge of kind of, well, equaling Floyd's record, so to speak.
TBE.
TBE, mate. Minimum weight champion, right? I swear to God, this is another division that needs to really kind of start getting these unifications together, because this guy, there's a couple of kind of dodgy decisions go his way, actually, and he should have lost that fight yesterday, well, with my scorecard anyway, but just to kind of let the listeners know, because I've seen a few comments on the way home the train yesterday. He should have lost to Melvin Jerusalem, but this guy for Japan, he was facing Tatsui Fukuhara, right? I had him winning 115, 113, I'm sure it was. The Japanese judge in that fight scored it 118 to 110 to the Thai. That was, it had open scoring in that fight. After 8 rounds, the guy had to come out and just basically go for the knockout. And you can see that in his style. And that Thailand always seems to have this open boxing, the open scoring in other WBC title fights. But I just thought it was absolutely disgusting that the guy knew after 8 rounds there was a good chance he had no chance of winning that fight unless he knocked the guy out. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a rematch, maybe getting called there if they make a complaint or anything like that. But I did think Fukuhara won that fight. But as I say, that division really needs to get some unification fights together. You've got Malindo, what do you call him? You've got a few other kind of Thai fighters not involved in a couple of Japanese fighters. I didn't see much of a problem getting these fights made, but I thought I'd pass comment on it because I did see a few people raging about it yesterday.
Yep, no problem, Andy. When there's a TB fight involved, we always like to jump on board. Go ahead, Rob.
Donnie's dad didn't go to Japan or at any stage, did he?
He's already got slated. Hey, Donnie Jr. is getting us bad with some of the scorecards he's been popping up on the post. We love you really, Donnie. Isn't that right, Hater?
Oh, absolutely. Even when he's drunk scoring, which is most of the time. I was also going to mention next week, you were speaking this week of shitty German cards. We've got the Grenade back in Europe.
Yeah, man.
He's fighting Paul Smith, mate, you know.
There's about 10 cards on in Germany next week. So Ekpo was meant to be fighting Tyrone Zuger, and that fight's been pulled.
They knew Ekpo was going to batter him, that's why.
That fight's off. Zuger pulled out, but the card still goes ahead, though.
Fuck's sake. They should put him against Paul Smith, then.
He would destroy Smith at me, you sadist. Yeah,
the Grenade would explode all over Smith's face.
Probably would do. Got a couple of questions, actually. I nearly forgot about these. We've got one from Victor. I'm going to hit you with this one, Tommy, actually. Victor said, I thought this was a bit of a joke question at first, but the more I look into it, maybe it's not. He said, for the pod later, do you think with Amir Khan being on I'm a Celebrity will lead to a comeback on ITV pay-per-view next year and maybe even a circus fight with Eubank Jr. somewhere down the line? And I thought Khan against Eubank Jr., but I suppose he was up at middleweight against Saul Alves, so it's not too far-fetched, Tommy.
I can't. Well, the ITV pay-per-view thing, that's not out of the realms of possibility, but I think Eubanks, he's up at super middleweight now, that's just a wee bit too far out of reach, but there has been talk of him fighting other bigger guys and stuff like that. Talking of fighting Billy Joe Thornton, that's not too long ago, so it's boxing man, anything can happen. I still think the Kell Brook fight's going to happen. I think that's going to happen next year. They're going to bring Brook back shortly. I think that what we're going to see is Brook back a tune-up, and then they're going to meet towards the end of next year in a pay-per-view fight.
I'm actually surprised Khan hasn't called out Conor McGregor or maybe Ronda Rousey.
He's too busy in the jungle.
Pacquiao was calling it McGregor, was he not? Well, he made reference to it anyway. He made reference to it.
Pacquiao's called him out last week. De La Hoya called him out the week before. I wouldn't mind see the De La Hoya fight. It's obviously a freak show, but I wouldn't mind seeing that, man. I think De La Hoya still fuck him up even at 41. He's a big guy. He can punch, boxing skills, obviously. Let's get it on.
I'm waiting on Morris Blocker to call him out.
Morris Blocker.
And then the Blade, Barkley. I heard Barkley call him out.
I want to see Lomachenko call him out and see if he would actually fight him. I bet he would.
He made an excuse when he mentioned Lomachenko for sparring. Then he said he's too small. He's a little man. He's too.
Aye, fucking. I'd actually heard. I read the.
That's Paul Martin. You call him out.
Aye,
Not that I've heard of, Andy.
I tell you one MMA fighter at sparring, that TJ Dillashaw. He was saying that he got schooled a bit, but he didn't really take liberties with him. But he was showing him openings that he just basically kind of like, if he opened them up, he didn't really throw the punch at him, but he just kind of like let him know, I had you there. I could have really fucked you up. I could really just. I'm not going to fucking say it's going to happen, like, but I really think anybody, especially any MMA fighter with much of a boxing background, Lomachenko fucking schools him.
Just on this note, I've seen didn't you see the video with Mayweather back in the gym last week?
Aye.
Back sparring and training.
TJ Dillashaw sparred Loma.
Aye, that's what I just said there, aye.
Okay, I was confused about who was sparring who there. TJ's a beast. I mean, he's awesome. So if he's getting schooled by Loma.
He did land some shots, but you could tell Lomachenko's just toying with him. Like, he's not. Lomachenko is that athletically gifted. He posted a video on Instagram of himself flicking 4 coins off the back of his hand and catching all of them before they hit the gate deck. Like, this guy's freakishly talented. Like, he schools people with boxing backgrounds. You know what I mean? In his 4th fight and everything, he's an exception. Like, isn't he? Absolute exception. And in a way, it's a pity like that they have to. I know we're skipping ahead or whatever, but it's a pity that the two of these have to fight for me. Like, even though I want to see Rigo beat him, like, I really think Lomachenko could be the next megastar of boxing if they market him right. Like,
Spencer Fearn would commit suicide.
I think the world should get behind Lomachenko then.
Good call. Team Loma.
Pray for Spence. Right, Rob, let's hit you with another question. This is a good one, actually, from Stuart Roberts that came in a couple of weeks ago. He said, the media makes a big deal about undefeated records. Do you, Rob, believe that the following fighters should have undefeated records when they retired? Should these guys actually have undefeated records? Floyd Mayweather, after the first Castillo fight? I would say probably yes. Joe Calzaghe, after the Robin Reed or B-Hop fight? B-Hop, no. Robin Reed, yes. And Andre Ward, after the first Kovalev fight? I would also say yes. What do you think?
I think B-Hop beat Calzaghe 8 rounds to 4. I think
Fucking A.
Castillo and Floyd, I'm not so sure, maybe 6 rounds apiece. Who cares really though? You know what I mean? Who really cares? I have Ward winning the first fight by a round, so I'm the wrong guy to ask on all 3 counts probably. But no, I mean, undefeated records, the media really, Floyd made the undefeated record popular, didn't he? Like, because we've seen it expo. We've seen Tyson's undefeated record go before. We've seen Chavez's undefeated record.
It was never a thing, was it really?
Not a thing. Fighters can come back, and some of the greatest fighters, the fighters that we love the most, even the greatest fighter of all time, won the middleweight title 5 times because he lost it. You know what I mean? He lost fights, like, granted at the end of his career or whatever, or past his prime, but like, the greatest fighters on earth have lost fights. Ali won the world title 3 times, but to win the world title 3 times, he had to lose it. You know what I'm saying? So Floyd paid into all that, and now it's a good shoe in for fighters when they're marketing them, because 20-0 is the magic number now for a world title fight.
Floyd came around just at the right time, though, hasn't he? Really,
absolutely. And it's a pity. It's eras can spell everything for a fighter, because we even go back to Terry Norris. He was so talented, like, but kind of came at the wrong time, like between the kind of transition period of the Fantastic Four into the De La Hoya era, and he was kind of nowhere in the lower weights, but talented guy that if he was around today probably could have made 10 times more money. You know what I mean? So it's just fellas can come at the right time. Exactly.
Look at the guys around just now. You like to see they are top fighters. Your Miguel Cotto, Manny Pacquiao, guys like that. Manny Pacquiao's a great fighter because what he's done through the weight classes. Obviously, that's how he's doing as a great. Miguel Cotto, is he really going to be a great fighter in the 80s? Is he really going to be a great fighter? You can in the 50s and stuff like that. It's probably no going to be, and that's really Floyd's signature wins, isn't it? Unless you count De La Hoya, who for me was pretty much well past his best when he fought him.
Do you remember that Argentinian? I'm sure you do, from about a year or so ago. That is it, Cuenca. He got knocked out by Trojanovski. Didn't he get to about 48-0 or something?
He had like 1 knockout or something like that.
Aye, a couple of knockouts.
I remember him vaguely. Just me mentioning the name.
Yep. Talking of fighters who fought everybody, we had a question in, or more of a comment from Rick Law, really. Hey to Dave Lowback. He was talking about DeMarcus Corley. He said, I've just seen a video of DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley. He's a bit before my time, but I looked at him on BoxRec and the names he's been in with are unreal. He lost them all, but it got to me thinking, who is the best boxer with the best losing record? Like the best amount of top names, but at world level, not journeymen. Hope you understand. Who you think?
Benny Briscoe.
Yeah. I was thinking guys like Archie Moore, the amount of losses he had, but all good losses. But he's right about Corley, who's 43. And let's look at his record now. Corley's 50, 28 and 1. Talk about me feeling old when I was watching Ainsley Bingham fight. I remember DeMarcus Corley back when he was undefeated.
I remember that Archie Moore. He fought like Charlie Burley and all the Murderers Row people, and he even knocked some of them out, even though he lost a couple as well.
Yeah.
Had to play business, though. Had to play the role with the mob as well. He had to get into bed with them to try and get the big fights.
Yeah, but then I suppose back then, like we're talking about the undefeated record, Andy, those guys were just fighting non-stop. And so you're going to end up with 20, 30, 40 losses on your record.
Some of the guys were fighting maybe like 10, 15 times a month. You know, they would jump on like a train for like say Buffalo to Pittsburgh or whatever, and then they'll go further west into Milwaukee, and they'll be back in their hometown fighting again by the end of the week and stuff. You know, remember reading about Harry Greb, that he was due to get called up to the army, and the plan was to have him fighting like 15, 20 times before he was due to get called up, and it was just fucking, it was absolute chaos. No wonder these guys were dying young and major injuries and washed up by like before they were even in their 30s and stuff like that. Guys, at the amount of times these guys were fighting were unbelievable.
Yeah. Like Dempsey was fighting for food sometimes, and then he lived
on the breadline. Yeah,
fighting for food. Imagine.
Hey, I didn't know this, that Sugar Ray Robinson actually ducked or made excuses to avoid Charlie Burley. Yeah, never knew that one. Only found that out a couple of weeks back.
Never heard that one.
I don't, just going back down in...
Burley got ducked by everybody, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, going back down in levels, I just have Corley's record here. The fights I remember, the Flores and Ener Julio fight, and then he lost to Zab Judah. Everyone remembers that. It was a terrible fight, and neither of them barely threw a punch. Then we've got Floyd Mayweather on the record. I think Corley actually might have called Mayweather at one point. He did, Dave. He then lost by knockout to Miguel Cotto. He lost to Junior Witter. He lost to Devin Alexander. Ashley Theophane beat him. He lost to Randall Bailey, a man he'd already beaten. Going up the record, who else beat him? Marcus Modana beat him. Fedchenko, Lucas Matisse, Thomas Delorme, Ruslan Provodnikov. Paul McCluskey beat him. Victor Postol beat him. Aydin beat him. Rick Law's right, to be honest with you, Dave. He really has gone in with a who's who, win or lose, mostly lose.
I remember that Maidana fight too. He made Maidana look foolish a few times. It was actually a good fight. He was a guy who almost always tried his best. I remember I saw him live against Thomas Almeida, when Almeida was still undefeated and a young guy. He tried his ass off in that fight. He got dropped once and ultimately lost the decision. Probably scorecards were a little wider than it should have been, but I mean, he tried hard every time he went in there, and a lot of the times he gave good fights even in his losses.
He's a top fighter back in his prime. I remember when he fought Zab Judah as well. That was a good fight against Judah, that first fight. Zab was flying back then. He was right up there with him. He came on off he beat Randall Bailey, and obviously around that time as well. Bailey was always a good fighter back in his prime as well. Big puncher, so.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I actually had a bit of crack with Chop one night. It was after the Austin Trout and Miguel Cotto fight. We're staying in the same hotel, man. I sat there for about 2 hours just talking. See if you sit and listen to that, man. He's pretty much an unbeaten fighter in his own mind. He's never lost any of these fights.
Well, it's funny you should say that.
The only fight he lost at that point was Cotto, who stopped him.
It's funny you should say that, Tommy, because I was going to say that after he fought Paul McCluskey in Belfast and knocked him out, we interviewed him, and Cotto and Mayweather were fighting that night, and he, of course, had fought them both. So he gave great insight into how he thought the fight would go, and he was saying little bits about their styles, and Chop Chop would be a good guy to try and get on here, actually.
Definitely, man. He's a character, man, and he likes to talk, Aye.
Yeah, if anybody knows Chop Chop, reach out to him and ask him to come on. We'll try and fit him in with all these guests that we're getting on at the moment. Anyway, let's get on. That's all the questions that I have. Let's get on. Rob, do you want to say something?
I was going to say Emmanuel Augustus probably fits into that category too, doesn't he?
Yes, it certainly does. Yeah, certainly does. Right, fights for next week. Aussie looking a bit of Channel 5 action. I might sit and watch this one myself, actually. Anthony Yigit against Joe Hughes for the European title. They've maybe got half an eye on that fight for Josh Taylor, perhaps. Luke Watkins, the fight that Tommy McCarthy was talking about against Mike Stafford, Chantel Cameron, and also an interesting fight has fallen on here for the vacant IBO Continental Super Middleweight title. They've had a couple of stormers already. Jermaine Smile against Lennox Clark. I thought Frank would have put that on, but it looks like Cyclone are putting it on.
Yeah, Smiles never boxed Lennox Clark before. That was Darryl Williams.
Apologies.
But yeah, do you know what? A real good, solid card. Good main event. Joe Hughes, I watched him box Jack Catterall probably earlier in the year, and I thought he was beaten quite convincingly. But Joe got a chance against Tyrone Hughes and got a draw, which many people felt he actually won. Yajit, we've seen him before. He's talented. So it should be, do you know what? It should be a real good, honest fight for the European title. I've not seen much of Mike Stafford. I know he's from up my way. He's under the VIP Promotions banner. Luke Watkins, seen a bit of him. Looks like he can punch. I would expect him to get rid of Stafford, to be honest. His record is okay. When he stepped up to British level, he's lost. He's fallen short. Jermaine Smile, as you mentioned, we've seen him before with two crackers against Darryl Williams. That fight should have been going ahead, but it fell through, and eventually saw Darryl Williams actually hang up his gloves due to politics in the sport.
And this one, the Clark fight, was the one that was supposed to take place bizarrely on Belfast, but didn't.
It was. So that was Darryl Williams against Lennox Clark, but I've since found out that was never actually the plan. Williams never got told, and he's hung up his gloves. Whether that's just through pure frustration at the moment, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's led to this fight. Smiles the home fighter. Clark's from down the road in Birmingham, so it should be a good one. Don't really care about the title on the line; it means fuck all. But it's just a good trade fight, which, as I mentioned previously, they usually come up with the goods. Chantel Cameron's opponent, she lost to Katie Taylor, so this is actually for the International Boxing Organisation World Female Lightweight title. So a fringe world title, if you want to call it, on the Leicester Arena show. And then I think there's a Midlands area fight as well. But no, real good, solid card from Cyclone for all the shit that they've caused today with Frampton. Obviously, hopefully it takes a bit of doesn't take any of the shine off it, because I'm looking forward to it. As you said, I'll sit down and watch it.
Ozzy, I've been doing my research here for once, and the Miss Obernerf, who is going in against Chantel Cameron, had a win in 2015 over one Kalia Karuni, who is also known as Pink Tyson.
Pink Tyson.
What about that then?
Mick Hennessy's new pay-per-view star. Do you know what? I think Mick really is Mad Mick now. What the hell was he playing at this weekend? It was just utterly bizarre. In some shitty hall, which
some kind of tits, though, eh?
Oh,
some kind of tits.
I tell you what, if you make comments to her on Twitter, though, she goes absolutely ballistic.
Oh, she's like it, man.
She called somebody.
What about her tits?
Brick.
It was easy because I've posted a picture of them, man, and she's fuck you or something. They're real in their mind.
She's shy. She's absolutely garbage with all this. This Pink Tyson. This girl she beat got stopped off Natasha Jonas in the fourth round, and she won by a point. But so she can't be much cop. But anyway, that's for another thread, that one. But no, back to the Cyclone card. It should be decent. Looking forward to it, and I hope people tune in.
Yeah, if anybody is on Twitter, which I'm sure many of you are, I think it's Boxrec Grey or something. He did a whole thread. He bought the pay-per-view for £1.49. It was Ben who made us aware of this, and he went up and down the whole card and with screenshots and everything. It was probably better than the fight. It was completely hilarious. I actually remember Mick Hennessy delving into the world of women's boxing before. I'm trying to find out what year it was, but he had this fighter called Angel Mackenzie. I think she was from Russia, and she changed her name, moved to Brixton, and apparently she'd been on like Big Brother or Celebrity or one of these shitty shows. And she fought live on Channel 5 when Mick had the deal there, and she was absolutely woeful. I've bought her record up here. She ended up with a 4 wins and 32 losses record, and she fought a girl called, let me have a look, Lana Cooper, I think it was at the time. So a bit of women's boxing information for you there. We shall move on. Tommy, any interest in Pink Tyson?
Definitely, man. I'm a big fan. I've never seen her fight, but I'm definitely a big fan.
Tommy's just interested to see if she does anal.
Aye. See, this is. See, women talk about discrimination and that. This is where, if they want to be the same as men, they should fight topless. I want to see Pink Tyson fight topless.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yep.
It's very offensive, really.
12 rounds,
men aren't allowed to wear shirts.
Topless.
Right.
Make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen.
The way Mick Hennessy's heading, I know that's no the realm of possibility, is it?
What about Mick fighting topless, Tommy? Is that something?
I'd rather fucking watch Current Versus than a Tyson Fury, man. Did you see the pictures of Tyson and Mickey Hatton the other day? That was class, Oh, man.
Oh, dear. Right, anybody else want to make any comments on the Channel 5 card? You get to any of that?
Hey, just going back to that, is there anything came out about the pay-per-view numbers, or that just stay for what that Pink Tyson kid's done?
Yeah, I think they sold -3.
189 or something for it. Oh,
149, Tommy. It wasn't 189. Don't be silly. Right?
Mick.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Dave Lee bought it. I'm sure he did.
Probably.
Anyway, let's move on to America. New York State Athletic Commission, the end of Miguel Cotto. Andy said he's going to be right back. He's obviously going to fill his life with rage. Hey to Dave Loback. We shall dissect the career of Cotto over the coming weeks when there isn't so much on. I don't think we'll bother now. Just looking at this fight against Saddam Ali, according to HBO boss Peter Nelson, they couldn't fight. They tried to approach different opponents and they wouldn't take it. What about Ali as an opponent, hey to Dave? Is it fair enough for Cotto's final fight, or would you have rather seen him go out against something a little bit better?
I don't care enough at this point. That like I'm kind of just glad it's going to be over, if it actually is going to be over. It's not a particularly interesting fight or a good fight. I would have liked to see Cotto versus Tim Bradley, maybe down catch weight of 150 or so, just sort of a farewell fight for both guys. Now that's interesting to me because I don't really know who would win that. It's 50-50 at this point in their careers. It doesn't mean anything. Like, I don't know where Saddam Ali is in his career. Has he's maybe fought once since he got smashed by Vargas, or has he fought at all? I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I haven't bothered. I'm not going to watch it.
He has, Dave. He's actually fought 3 times against Saul Corral, Jorge Silva, and Johan Perez, and they have combined losses of 32.
Okay, so he's back. He's climbing the ranks again. I mean, this would be really big for him if he could beat Cotto, which he could do. I mean, Cotto's old. Saddam Ali has some power. He has some surprising speed. He can catch you. I would have to probably favor Cotto in this fight, though. Probably, I'm thinking maybe mid-late stoppage. I'm really not interested, though. Cotto Bradley would have been a great way to go to end both of their careers, I think, maybe especially if it had been a war. Adam Abramowitz, a former guest of ours who runs Saturday Night Boxing, he was tweeting about he thinks Bradley's had a better career than Cotto, and it started a big debate. I think that's more interesting than the ridiculous fight next week.
That's real hate, Fuck Cotto, man.
Go on, Andy. Jump in and have a rage about Cotto while I go for a slash, will you?
Oh, wow. What can we say about Miguel Cotto? What I will say is this: he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer anyway. I mean, the fucking the people coming out for first ballot potentially the next 5 years is going to be incredible. Floyd, Ward, I know Gonzalez is going to keep fighting. Bradley's going to be in there. Maybe Pacquiao, who knows yet? But his career is the ultimate mirage ever. No, he's a king of vacant belts. There was a time period actually that he was actually must-watch TV. He was really exciting to watch. You know, Carlos Mauser, Love More Than Do, Pinto, Bailey, Corley, Torres. You know, the Torres fights.
Great fight, Ricardo Torres.
Great fight. You know, and then he really started kind of asking, you know, pound for pound questions. Judah, Mosley, just the manner he was dealing with them. And then he gets to Don Margo. Oh my word, man, that was just absolutely epic. Just to see a fighter actually kind of like, you know, start a fight early doors, really dominate, and just gradually get worn down, and just like quit, like just like go on his knees and saying that I didn't want it anymore. See, after that, you know, I remember Ring Magazine asking the question about my 28-year-old, was he washed up? Well, I think he was, because if you look at his career after that, man, Michael Jennings, vacant title. He then fights Joshua Clottey, who, by the way, if Clottey just could just have, exactly, if he could have put the foot down for the last 2 or 3 rounds, exactly. And then he's fucking moaning about the catch weight for Pacquiao. He had to weigh £145, whilst just forgetting the fact is that a few months previously he'd actually weighed 146 for the Clotty fight.
Yeah.
Yuri Foreman, again, that was a disgrace. That guy, that guy shouldn't have been in the ring that night. He was crippled. McCanty Jr. pushed that fight for fucking far too long. Ricardo Mayorga, who was baking him into fucking, tee off on him, a shot Mayorga, and he still wouldn't step in and try and end it. It took an injury to Mayorga. Margarito, Bliss said about that match, the better. He did up a wee bit against Mayweather, but he got schooled in the end, didn't he? He just and then against Trout was an absolute embarrassment for him. And then that just showed his lack of class. Actually, just get up at the ring like that and just fucked off. Think he'd won the fight. He soundly lost that fight. And then again,
he done that against Mayweather as well, didn't he? He walked out the ring.
He did. Interview. And then he kind of top it off. He beats Delvin Rodriguez, who, in all honesty, his level was ESPN Friday Night Fights against Pavel Wallach. Two good fights against that guy, but that's a Cotto. That was a Cotto kind of like say his second career. Sergio Martinez, again, another knee cripple. Daniel Gill had to absolutely drain, and I mean drain, right down to 157. A guy looked like a skeleton. Then he had the audacity to complain that he fucking beat Alvarez. I mean, the guy's the biggest minge bucket ever in the last fucking 10 years of boxing, up there with Mayweather, but he is the ultimate fucking minge bucket. And I can't wait for his career to end. I would love it Kevin Keegan style if Ali was all the business here.
Great name you threw in halfway through that, Andy. I'd forgotten all about him. The punching pole, the raging bull, Pavel Volak. Do you remember him? He used to freaking cut on the way into the ring, him.
Aye, that guy had more fucking bumps in a car crash victim, that one. Like,
when Rodriguez fight, man.
His face was always a car crash. But anyway, Tommy, let's go on to Cotto. Are you sad to see the big man go? Have you been a fan over the years? I'm honestly asking.
Miguel Cotto's a fighter I've hated, absolutely detested for a long time. Mostly because of his fans, when they tried to steal Antonio Margarito's famous victory film, saying that Antonio loaded his gloves, he done this, he done that. It's a load of shit. I listened to the case, the whole case online. The only reason Antonio Margarito was banned was because the wraps had been previously used. And it had to be fresh wraps that had been used. It wasn't even the wraps, it was a knuckle pad. It was a knuckle pad inside the wraps. Anyone that's had their hands wrapped would know if you put a concrete knuckle pad in, you've got to be making contact with that. You've got to break your hand as soon as you punch. I'd have done a job with Margarito. See when he'd done the rematch and he brought that fucking iPad in when he was talking to Max Kellerman, man. He even brought visual aids. He's so advanced with his excuses. He's even bringing visual aids, this guy, man. He's a fucking bitch. I didn't like him after he's walked out the ring in a couple of interviews. Mayweather beat him, Trout beat him, Canelo beat him. He's a bad loser. He can't handle defeat. He was a good fighter. I liked watching him when he was younger. I really wanted to see the Ricky Hatton fight at 140. I think Ricky would have beaten at 140 back then, but I think if he'd have fought at welterweight, it would have been a Cotto's fight. But I was kind of gutted that one never happened. Never been a fan since Margarito. I'm glad he's gone. His famous victory since then, as Andy says, I came against a cripple. Sergio Martinez, let's be honest, Sergio Martinez at his best would have absolutely annihilated Cotto, and there's nobody that could convince me otherwise. Sergio was done. He beat two crucial ligaments, both knees. The guy couldn't move. I was at the fight. I was really, really disappointed that night. I was even more disappointed the night I went to see my hero Antonio Margarito beat him in the rematch again, and he lost. Oh man, I was lucky to get the Garden alive that night. 20,000 Puerto Ricans, man. I was going fucking mental. But never a fan, as Andy said. Andy pretty much nailed his resume on point there. He's overrated, vacant titles, and when his loss, he's been a wee bitch.
Vacant titles and crippled old guys.
Floyd is probably, for longevity's sake, the best cherry picker of the most recent era, but I think probably the ripest individual cherry picked ever. And I don't blame Cotto for this. I mean, it was really smart. Sergio Martinez, the middleweight title.
Yep.
That was the
Miguel Cotto, not the middleweight.
It was the ripest cherry ever. It was a pushover. Like, he went in there to win the middleweight title. The lineage.
They've knew that. They've knew something going into that fight.
Absolutely. I mean, you could see it. I mean, he after that Martin Murray fight. I mean, the guy was
he came right out and jumped on Martinez, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's right. Sergio. Sergio had been out for a while with a bad knee, right? And they wanted to wear a certain knee brace. And the motherfucker actually even complained to it. Not only did you have the guy come down and wait, not only has the guy been in the ring for 18 months, not only has he had a fucking cruciate ligament injury, he's been unable to do road work, he's had to swim, he's had to cycle and all that sort of stuff. He had all these things packed in, even get the biggest purse. And guess what he still did? He still fucking try to kind of get one over on the guy saying, nah, you can't wear a knee brace, you can only wear like a sleeve in your knee and that's it. Like it or lump it. Fucking bitch.
Well, Rob, I mean, where can we go from that? I know the guys aren't too happy about what Cotto has become, but as Tommy mentioned, I like to remember him what he was early on in his career, and he was a staple of my boxing viewing for a good time. And from the 2004 till 2006 region, I must admit, I liked watching Cotto fights against the likes of Kelson Pinto. Yep. Remember that one? He was supposed to fight Junior Witter at one point. It never came off. Obviously, the fights with Corley, he avenged his Olympics loss to Mohamed Abdullayev, who was pretty decent at the time. He stopped him in the 9th round. A shootout with Ricardo Torres. Both men were down. That was a brilliant fight, 28-0. Big punching Colombian was Torres. Fought the likes of Branco. And, of course, Rob, the fight with Paulie Malignaggi, took his undefeated record. And his jaw as well, smashed his face to pieces. Good times, Rob, for Cotto. Good times.
Probably one of his best performances, Carlos Quintana, who was a really good fighter back then. He was getting a lot of hype behind him. He just beat Joe Julio.
That's right. Who was also hyped as well.
Yep.
Well, no, Cotto was a good fighter. Like, let's not take it away from him. He was a good fighter, a genuine world champion. Is he first ballot Hall of Fame? I would say probably not. Did he quit against Margarito? Yes, but I would say Margarito punched potholes out of his forehead in unusual shapes. So there is suspicion over it, especially what happened after with Mosley. But that's neither here nor there. Cotto was a hard guy to root for because of his broody attitude. His walking out the ring, as the guys mentioned, and his entourage, like that big guy with the lipstick that he sleeps in the bed with, like, and his wife.
Brian Vasquez, I think his name is, or Brian something.
He's gave him AIDS, man. Look at the amount of weight that guy's lost.
Yeah, he's fat now. He was fat, now he's skinny. Him and the wife is always there putting her 2 cents in at ringside as well. So no, I would rather see Cotto fight Saddam Hussein than Saddam Ali next week.
I remember years ago, minding the forum and that years ago. I was at the. I can't remember the start of the fight. I was at the Puerto Rican parade after it, and Big Brian and Cotto was here and
holding hands.
Well, no, he kind of rubbed. I don't know if he was sweating or something, but Cotto turned and rubbed his heat. Rubbed some of his heat. There's someone definitely suspicious about the two, man. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, man.
Well, they're sharing a bed, so that's suspicion just confirmed, you know.
Definitely, man. And when you look at Cotto's missus too, man, fucking hell.
Yeah, I wouldn't go anywhere near that without 6 pints. Like,
I tried to meet Cotto once. He is quite a broody character. I remember he was in, where was it? I think it was Caesar's Palace or somewhere before. I was over for Hopkins de la Hoya, and Cotto he wasn't on the undercard. No, he wasn't on the undercard, but he was an up and coming prospect at the time, and people knew who he was. He had a big fuzzy head of hair back then, and he walked past, and I tried to shake his hand, but he sort of just looked at me and like grunted and walked on. He is quite a sullen individual, like you say, Tommy.
Aye, definitely. That's what Kovalev done that to me last year. Prick.
Should have hit him.
You still defend him and call the ward fights robberies.
He's just that one, Tommy. He's a dick. He's a badass. And
you should have hit him. You should have hit him to the body, Tommy.
Okay, I'll get the next time. If he's here in March, we'll get it this time.
Tommy would have gone straight to top number 1 pound for pound in one moment.
That's right, Tommy. If you hit him, then all of a sudden the WBO might have you fighting for one of their titles. There's been worse involved.
I've been training lately. You've probably noticed last week, Steve, that I'm in pretty decent nick just now. So you never know, eh?
Yep, you never know. Ozzy, final word to you on Cotto against Saddam Ali. I was looking on the undercard, actually. Ray Vargas, 30-0, defending his WBC title against Oscar Negrete, who's 17-0. That could be a decent one. Tell me about Cotto Ali, though, Ozzy.
The fight's a joke. It's not a joke. It shouldn't be happening. It's disappointing to see him go out against somebody like this. I mean, Saddam Ali, he wasn't even ranked by the WBO until this fight was made. So there's one mockery about it. It's one of those, really. I don't really have any. I won't be staying up to watch it. I think it's fair to say about that. I'd rather watch Vargas on the undercard. I think that might have a bit more about it. But no, obviously, you would expect him to win. and then he retires, and the title becomes vacant. And we know who steps in for a vacant title.
Yep, go on.
Liam Smith. So I think we all can't wait to see Smigger's brother challenge for the vacant title once again.
Ozzy got kicked off there for insulting the WBO people. But it is a bit of an insult, I suppose, when you've got guys like Liam Smith jumping in for vacant titles off the back of people like Cotto who've been in the game for so long. It's a bit like Adonis Stevenson bastardising and destroying the legacy of the WBC light heavyweight title that guys like Matthew Saad Mohammed nearly died for in the ring. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Ozzy, you were just telling us about Liam Smith and how you hope he gets a shot at the title.
Definitely, yeah. I'm an advocate for anybody who can challenge for vacant world titles all the time. And Liam is the main man. He's done it once. Why can't he do it again? I don't think he'll have it as easy this time. I can't remember the lad who's ranked 1 or 2 at the moment. I think is he like an Eastern European or something like that? I actually think he's quite decent. So it could actually be a decent step up for Liam Smith, that one. I can't remember his name. Do you have the rankings?
Magomed Kurbanov.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I think it is that. Now, it's been mentioned already. Smith's in at 1, he's in at 2. So there's no reason why that shouldn't happen. And I think it's Kana Islam in at 3. So I think there's your fight. Well, I mean, unless Cotto loses, then it's going to be Liam Smith against Saddam Ali.
Liam Smith against Saddam Ali. That's something we can all get on board with. Let's get on to the Bellew of the Weeks and get the hell out of here. We've still got Hater Dave Lowe back with us. We've got Ozzy, we've got Andy Patterson, we've got Rob Kelly, and we've got Tommy the Guru Allen. No Kurt Ward these days, everybody. Rest in peace, Kurt. No Donny as well this week. We'll hopefully get him on next week, as well as another special guest or 2. Let's get on with the Bellew of the Weeks. Quite a few have been thrown in, so I'll get through them as quick as I can. Chad Hogan has nominated Gregor Allen. Allen says, people giving Amir Khan shit for going on I'm a Celeb. He's a 2-time world champion, fought 14 world champions, and is one of Britain's best boxers of all time. Bellew of the Week, says Brian King. Just stating facts, Brian. Paulie Malignaggi still going on. Not about Conor McGregor this time. He's talking heavyweights. At heavyweight, I think Dillian White is solid and is a tough out for anyone, says Paulie. This new kid Dubois seems the goods. People also forget about David Price. He's no easy task. Unless you see one of his fights, Dave.
He's top 5 pound for pound. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, he was in your list. That's right. The Price is right, Andy.
The plumber is back in business, I suppose.
He's back in business. Also back in business, Boris has nominated Sylvie Silv. Sylvie fell prey to an Eddie Hearn spoof account. He said, you're having a laugh, pay-per-view for Chilemba, a new low Eddie. I know it's unfortunate that Hayes injured, but you can't make the Bellew Chilemba rematch. You have to take it on the chin, not pass it on to the fans. Tony Bellew, this is an unacceptable pay-per-view, tags him in. David Hay tags him in. You need to retire, you're finished. And then he starts going off on a complete rant. It was all off a parody account that said that Bellew Chilemba 2 was going to be the replacement on pay-per-view. Josh Langley pointed out that Sylvie Silv took it on the chin later on and admitted his mistake. Matt Simpson has nominated Billy Joe Saunders for referring to mediocre fighters as medium ochre. Classic from Billy. He's becoming a bit of a staple, actually, Billy Joe Saunders. He was talking about eating flange or something the other week. And all sorts of bits and pieces. Haroon?
I'm actually shocked he didn't win it last week when he said every female with a smelly fanny should be executed.
Were you voting from home?
I wish I was on so I could have voted for that. But no, I think the winner was good last week too. It was Bunsey for some other bullshit.
Yeah,
oh yeah, he was found naked in the back of a van with 3 other men.
Very good. I like your impressions, Dave. They're getting better, I must say. I notice on the Boxing Rant, they always do an impression, but they're standard English impression for every fighter. So they're talking about Joe Gallagher, and they're like, oh, sort of talking like that, even though Joe Gallagher talks nothing like that. But shout out to Kenny and Vince. Keep up with the impressions there, guys. Right. No.
Joe Gallagher's chat.
Oh, that's his chat. Nomination for Haroon. He's a former winner, Haroon. He wants to get back in as well. Fight Fan has nominated him. He said, styles make fights. Floyd would beat Triple G. Triple G would beat Khan, and Khan would beat Floyd. Okay, Haroon. Who have we got here? Let's have a look. Ben Thorns has nominated Lee Ellis, Shane, and Muttley for having a conversation about Dillian White and why he's so entertaining. Seems to have captured the imagination of the casual fans, actually, Dillian White. A few of my friends who aren't real boxing fans were going on about how exciting he is and how he would knock out Wilder. He seems to have... The propaganda machine on Sky Sports News is working itself over. Let's have a look. Simon O'Leary has nominated Spencer Fearon. When people see me, they want a selfie, says Spencer. They go crazy. You're the knowledge, they say. All right, then. Fair enough. Not impressed by that one, Andy?
Not at all, mate. Fucking Spencer X. I tell you what, see if it comes out that Femi does fucking convert, by the way, he's going to be right behind them, big Spencer X, like.
Good old Spence. Right, St. George Groves, he's defending his WBA super middleweight title against Chris Eubank Jr. This got a friend on Facebook, Stephen Jesus Gaunt, as he calls himself, excited. He said, these two bums need to get their act together and stop running from McGregor, as well as Triple G and Lomachenko.
Fuck's sake.
It's hard to know what to troll and what's not these days, Andy.
You just wonder if some people are just that stupid or just that great at winding people up, you know?
Exactly. Well, London Box, we don't know about him. He's a regular listener to the show, so he'll like this nomination. He said, I'd back Dave Allen to beat Bellew, seriously. And Brian King nominated him for Bellew of the Week.
I think I saw that one, aye.
Yep. Michael Frayn has put in Bellew of the Week for Big Mick for the Pink Tyson £1.49 pay-per-view that went on. Paulie Malignaggi got another nomination for talking about the Ancajas Roman Gonzalez fight. Michael Benson has nominated... We're nominating Eddie Hearn for stating to IFL that Anthony Joshua has problems with his social media. Yeah, tweeting on it, as various messages have been sent by people hacking his accounts. Yeah, I'm sure they have. Yeah.
Shite. Absolute shite.
Hacked accounts. It's the new thing now, Andy, isn't it? Have you ever had your account hacked?
Aye, mate. I'm usually fucking sloppy for leaving my password line about pubs and other places in Dubai and stuff like that. I mean, I'm surprised he never just really kind of ran with the story that he'd left his phone behind somewhere and somebody picked it up and managed. They had the same thumbprint scanner as what Joshua had, and they knew the password, and that's where he hacked his phone. What a load of fucking crap!
It's the intricacies of it, though. Like if Anonymous or somebody is hacking in, then it's completely shit hacking. Because why would they start DMing likes of Eddie Chambers completely random?
Well, I think it's easily proven. All Eddie Hearn's got to do is contact Twitter. Twitter will confirm if the account was either was accessed from a third party, where that access came from, and then release the analytics to it. Surely that's what Eddie Hearn's got to do. He was more than happy to kind of like trade a check for Frampton for 1.7 million. He was willing to kind of do all these other wee kind of intricacies about deals and stuff like that and all that type of shit. Why he's going to do this date for Joshua to prove that he is actually innocent?
And what does he think we are like? Does he think the Black Panthers are waiting outside a window and then they're drugging AJ, putting him asleep like Mr. T, getting his thumb and putting it on the phone?
I put in the fool.
To start things up. What's the motive behind that? Like, you know what I mean? I'll tell you why he's tweeted Eddie Chambers, because Eddie Chambers was in Fury's circle and he's probably heard something back that Eddie Chambers was alleging that might have been engaging in extracurricular to keep his pounds and muscle, as Russ said. So I think that's where that came from. That's certainly more believable than this hack story.
Had anyone tweeted a couple of weeks ago that Tyson would have beat him or something?
Well, there you go.
That's I agree with you. That's exactly what's happened there, Rob.
What do you think's happened?
He's obviously took offence to something that Eddie says, or an affiliation with him.
With Fury.
Right.
For that, that's what that is like. It's not some secret agenda to like what's the motive for that? Like the person that's hacking him to go after Eddie Chambers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying exactly.
He's going to fucking message Tony Bellew, Tyson Fury, somebody like that. I mean, well, somebody with a profile, obviously. It's just what happened with Eddie Chambers, isn't it?
Rob, if we ever see you tweeting out that Vanilla Ice was the greatest rapper of all time, can we assume a hack?
Absolutely. And let me tell you another thing about AJ. It's no coincidence that his mask has started to slip after his first bit of backlash. That was his first bit of backlash from the casuals after that last Takam fight. They were like, oh, AJ, stay humble and everything, but you should be knocking out a guy that's only 6'1" on 2 weeks' notice, AJ. And he was like, his mask was slipping off. He's like, hey, you Fury, anybody wants it, you know what I mean? what do you say, Coogan? You know what I mean? You can see he's mad defensive or whatever, and if he loses, I wouldn't back against a Zab Judah-esque meltdown in the ring afterwards.
That would be glorious if he started throwing stools and stuff. Anyway, moving on. Brian King has nominated Big Right Hook. Big Right Hook says, I've just seen half an hour with Dillian White and 40 minutes with Billy Joe Saunders on IFL TV. Just call him Father Cassius, because Big Coogan Cassius has just made my Christmas right there. Someone's easily pleased. Brian's also nominated Tom Motto. What is the problem with it? What is people's problem with Eddie Hearn? Jealousy, I'd say. He puts best boxing shows on, bar none. Boxing would be shit without him, in my opinion. Matt Skelton has nominated Anthony Yards, talking about Anthony Joshua. He's a millionaire. He sells out arenas. Steve 5 has been nominated by Lloyd Davis, but I'm sensing a troll here, to be honest. He's talking about Warrington sparking Frampton and Selby on the same night, no bother. Pound for pound, Warrington is the most deadly one-punch KO artist active. That's a troll. I'm going to have to eliminate that one. Ring IQ TV, plenty of IQ here, according to Danny Robson. He's talking about a potential Joseph Parker versus Dillian White fight. A lot of Dillian White nominations here. Only going on what we've witnessed, says Ring IQ. Parker needs to throw a lot more punches to drop or stop his opponent, whereas Dillian White needs no more than 4 or 5 clean shots. And then he tags in Spencer Fearon for backup. Boris has nominated whoever's doing Mick Hennessy's social media. Katie Tyler versus Pink Tyson. Is that coming, they ask? Katie Tyler? Not sure who Katie Tyler is. Goulartista has nominated, who's he nominating? David Shaw. Bet365 are asking, who is the greatest fighter to have come out of Manchester? Retweet for Ricky Hatton, and favourite for Michael Bisping, who is one of these kung fu things, UFC or something. And David Shaw. All right, okay. David Shaw suggested Anthony Crolla, Dave. Anthony Crolla could be the best fighter to come out of Manchester?
I'm afraid not.
Michael Benson, promoter Vlad Hurinov, was talking about the Ustinov Char fight. Hurinov said, yeah, thanks for texting me. This is the title owned by Ali, Tyson and Lewis. He was talking about the WBA title last night. This is an opportunity to stand with them. Oh, that's a belter, Andy.
What was that one, mate?
Vlad Hurinov said about the Ustinov Char fight last night. This is the title owned by Ali, Tyson and Lewis. This is an opportunity to stand with them.
That's what I said. I said that at the start of the show.
Yeah, you said that because you were ridiculing it. He's saying it because he's trying to big it up. Same word, different
He told
meaning.
that to the Sport Express newspaper. Ricky Gravel nominated.
Heavyweight of Bastion boxing there.
Well, they tried to get in on the act at a second one as well, because we're talking about Char being offered the pink gloves, but he stormed off in offence. He ultimately decided he was going to borrow a pair from Mr. Ustinov. Lestin Venables, we're getting to the end now, was nominated Red White Guna. He's talking about Tony Bellew at cruiserweight. The thing is, Tony's dominated the division, and he's made an absolute fortune out of fighting Hay. If he does 2 times, he'll probably end up getting knocked out by Tyson, but again falls flat out onto a huge bed of money and is still an elite level fighter at cruiserweight and distinguished at heavyweight. When did Tony Bellew clean up at cruiserweight? Sorry, did I miss this?
Tony Bellew won a title and then pissed off north because that's where the money lies, and people are still wanting to come back down and weight. He's coming back down south for nobody. The money's at heavyweight and everybody knows this.
Doesn't need to go back to cruiserweight according to Red White Guna. He already dominated it.
Well,
I know. Right, Mr. Dermo, the final one from me, has nominated Fern. Fern was talking to Michelle Phelps, friend of yours, I believe, Tommy. Michelle was bemoaning the lack of good men on the scene by saying that dating sucks. Tommy should have jumped in, but he didn't. Fern did. He said, I'll be honest with you, Michelle. I don't think there will ever be a man that can take you. Your drive, your ambition, your beauty. The men who you probably date are too insecure of themselves. It's not a knock on you. Fern _323, aka Tommy the Guru.
It's true, mate. It's true. She's got up her standards a wee bit and got us out of Scotland there.
A slimline Guru could be the man.
Exactly.
Slimline Guru, slip of the line for anyway, I'll tell you that much.
I'll get the best 30 seconds of life.
Right, any other nominations, boys?
Yes.
Go on, Andrew.
Will Vickers on Facebook.
Oh, not him again.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them. First one, Facebook boxing prediction. So the idea behind this is you make a totally random prediction of what will happen in boxing, and by this time next year it has happened, and then we can review it. Okay, I'll go first. By this time next year, Anthony Joshua will have unified the heavyweight division in emphatic fashion, and Eddie Hearn will be dominating the US of A market with Matchroom Boxing USA. He then finishes another question by saying this is like a kind of random face box question of the day. Why is Evander Holyfield a great when his professional record is so average, 44-10-2?
Fucking hell.
That is the level of casual you're dealing with nowadays.
I hope that guy's gave a lot of abuse on Facebook.
Absolutely horrendous. Now, there's another one I had somewhere. I can't find it at the minute. Come back to me.
Okay. Any other nominations while Andy hunts that one down?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go on,
I got
Dave.
two. First, there was one of the most interesting headlines I think the boxing world has seen for a while. Brooke willing to eat a kangaroo testicle to secure Amir Khan.
Fucking deviant.
Someone said in the chat it's not the first testicle he's eaten. And then the other one is not really funny. It's just kind of sad and really pissed me off a little bit. Adrian Broner this week, some fan somebody walked up to him asking for a picture. So he turns his camera on and like just videos him like putting the guy down and mocking the guy and saying, "You mad? Yeah, you mad. Walk away. I don't even know this dude." It was just like a really rude, petulant, obnoxious thing to do. Just made me want to see him get iced.
I'd have banged him. I'd have accused a professional fighter. I'd have banged him. Like.
Yeah, he deserved it there. If he's being a real cunt. I can't wait to see him get smashed again.
He's the ultimate cunt.
I would love for him to come to Scotland, by the way. We just we'll get something organised by a few lads and stuff like that, and just like absolutely abuse and harangue him and just torture him for the full time.
Matty were ripping him fucking before the Canelo fight. He walked out, man. We were shouting, "Ricky Bond's going to fuck you up," and that. He turned around and looked and that. Yeah, you fucking bitch. Just get him on it. The two of us are steaming, but
the thing about Broner, the sad thing about Broner is that he's a dad. And not just a dad to like one or two kids, he's dad, so he should be doing better. Like, what is
he's got a fucking tribe in him.
Yeah, and what's he gaining from humiliating some poor kid that works in a store, probably getting like $7 an hour or something? Yeah. And he's walking around, he's going out to drive his Bugatti home, like just clowning some fella. I just hate that. And as well as that, with boxers, you've got a short shelf life, and the day is going to come where people are not going to look for your photograph, for your autograph, and all that. Like, exactly. Your personality, not your talent. By the way, as well, because you've done nothing in the ring to deserve the money that you've earned in the sport. Like, so he's a travesty, Broner.
That's something we can all get on board. Ozzy, any nominations?
Yeah, I've got one, and it is the founder of the award, Tony Bellew.
Come on.
They say I'm scared to face the giants of the division, so you know what I'll do? I'll fight the biggest of them all. Tyson Stavros Flatley Fury, anytime. Get your hearing sorted, Tyson. I'll fold you like a deck chair, son. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
That was quite inspiring, that from Tony, actually. That was up there with Anthony. That was Anthony Fowler levels of fucking inspiration, that one, like.
Good old Tony. Did you find yours, Andy?
Nah, mate, I can't find it, but I'm sure it was something related to some casual on Facebook, I'm sure.
No problem. We'll go through who we're going for then. Tommy, I'm going to go for Vlad Hurinov. A couple of things because of the gloves, but also because of those comments about the WBA. What do you reckon?
I'm going for Bellew.
Rob, what about you?
I think it's a tough one this week. There's a couple in there. Broner probably deserves it, but I think that guy over the Phelps one. Dayton sucks that he's like pandering to it. Like, if Dayton sucks, maybe it's you. So what? Like, you know. And you know about fighting. I know about fighting too. Why are you going to tell me something I don't know? Like, get out of here. Maybe it's you.
You see the old daters and that. Maybe Bully's tweet last week has something to do with
it. Maybe.
So someone's meant to go down to chew on the fur burger and says that's rookie. It's giving me the heave.
Right, it's Ozzy. Come on, quick. Ozzy, go ahead.
A clam supper.
Bellew for Ozzy. That's two for Bellew. Andy, what about you? Who are you going for? Are you with me, with Vlad?
I'll go for Vlad, mate, with that Vickers character of a close second.
Yeah, he's going to be in the running, excuse me, a few weeks, I think. Hey, to Dave Loback, the final decision, it looks like it's going to be to you.
I'm going to have to go with the Vlad Hurinov, whatever. It was just ironic that he said the very thing we were saying.
I hope nobody tells him, though. Could be the end of us. Right, thanks.
Is he a cokehead too?
No, I don't know. I'm sure he's a good, upstanding individual with all his monetary means coming in by perfectly legitimate methods. Mr. Hurinov, sir, Great guy. Right, let's get out of here while we're behind. Dave the Hater Lowback was on the call. Thanks for him. Rob Kelly was with us as well. Tommy the Guru Allen, Ozzy Smith, Andy Patterson. Thanks to Tommy McCarthy for jumping on. Great to hear some yarns from Tommy from the wonderful world of boxing. We'll catch you all again next week, guys. All the best. Bye.